Guys, listen up. As you get older, the best way to continue to look young, exuberant, and vibrant is to continue to take care of your skin. That's why I'm excited to have Teej Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. You heard me talk about them before, and you're going to continue to hear me talk about them because I believe in their products and the positive impact that they have on every man's life. Teej Hanley makes taking care of your skin so easy. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing that you don't. Every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. Skincare wasn't always something I always focused on, but since I started using this system, I've seen improvements in the way my skin looks and feels. And you don't have to take my word for it. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers from around the world. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer, and a PM moisturizer. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off retail price, the ability to customize your box, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because Teej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click that first link in the description and you'll get 30% off your first box plus the free gift. Seriously, that's an amazing deal. Even though it's too early, as I often say, it's never too late. Click that link and get started today. going on, family? Welcome to Lapeef. Let's talk. Let me go and introduce the crew. We got Trev Smooth, Real Precious, Paradise Paris, Mr. Let Go, Cloud Jones, Shonda, Marcus White, Nika, myself, and Lapeef. Welcome to Lapeef. Let's talk. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing?
What's going on?
Doing good, doing good.
Chilling.
Morning.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
What up? What up?
All right, it's good to see you guys on this Thursday. It's almost Friday, right?
Yes.
Came quick.
That's
Close.
Lord.
Pressure's looking like she on a date with us.
Ow.
Let me get situated here. Yeah, it is almost Friday. I think the year's going by pretty quick, man. If you ask me. Every time you look up, it's like the week is starting right back over again.
JR, it's a man in your background that looks just like you tonight. Oh my God. He's right there behind you.
Right there?
Right there. That's him.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Construct Icon, man, for
That was
illustrating.
almost a pause, but it wasn't. But it was almost a pause.
Yeah,
Let go of this pause word. Can we just let it go? Let it go. Let it
Look,
go.
reaching for the pauses tonight.
I'll say like, don't be trying to KS me now, Paradise.
Hold on, that last one went in the backtrack. That was a pause though.
Trying to KS me now. I'm like you're seeing somebody come across now. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get off that topic, man. Good to see you guys on this Thursday. Shout out to the chat. I see HR is in the building. Shonda and Nika, it's your first time. We do have an HR on site. So if you guys need to fill out any hurt feelings report, HR is available to do so. All you got to do is say the code word red. Red means stop. So when somebody hears that means stop. If they still proceed or you feel offended, then HR will get involved. So just want to let them know it's a safe space here.
I like the policy. That's good.
Okay. All right. With that being said, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor, T Channeling Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. 30% off along with a free gift. That link is in the description. Make sure you guys go ahead and fill that T. Let's get our skincare in order. Even though winter is here for some folks, right around the corners for others. We take care of our skin all year round. Ain't that right, man?
Sure.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and.
What you talking about, man? What you talking about, man?
Oh, here you go.
Yeah, you know.
Won't he do it? Won't he do it? So that's the secret, man. Trev is just right up under me. I'm 56. Trev, what you about 50? What, 54, 52?
I'm 40. I turned 44 last month.
44. Look what the T's do, y'all. Look what the T's. T's just doing wonders for us, man. So if you want some useful skin, like some of these senior citizens on the panel, then make sure you go ahead and click that link. Again, 30% off along with a free gift. Go ahead and get it started. I don't have a video for this. I think you guys seen enough videos, but I do want to get you guys' thoughts about what's been circulating around. Jada Pinkett calls Tupac her soulmate. Willow wrote Pac a letter, separated for 7 years, Will Smith and Jada. And she's been publicly embarrassing Will Smith. We could just kind of go around a little bit, get you guys' thoughts. We ain't got to spend too much time on it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with you. You first, Trev. I know you've been keeping up with the scoop, man.
Jada Pinkett is the devil. That's
What?
a nutshell. She has no respect for. This is why men say that their number one requirement in most cases is respect, right? And she absolutely has no respect for him, and that's why she can't love him, because it's impossible for a woman to love you without respect. And she's proven that time and time again. And it's always been about her. Them even faking this relationship is because of her leading it. This is also a perfect example of what happens when you allow a woman to lead in a relationship. That's a major issue as well. Her leading the relationship is leading them down the wrong path. It's leading their children down the wrong path. It's leading just the family as a whole in the wrong direction, because women aren't designed to lead, especially devious women like this. She's disrespected him in so many ways. How dare you go ahead and mess with your son's friend. That's outrageous. I don't care what the situation is. You can't hold the name of marriage. You can't have my last name as this is the type of activity you participate in. I don't care you faking it or not. Don't hold my name. Let it go. If you want to conduct yourself in this manner, that's insane. She talks to him crazy. I don't think she's ever respected him. She's still like Will Smith. His entire time from the beginning of the relationship has been chasing the ghost of Tupac. And that's the biggest issue right there. This is another reason why men try to stay away from women who have an imprint from another man. And that's why people are so crazy about low body counts and such, because you understand that the chances of an imprint are greater and greater. And she has an imprint from Tupac that's nobody's ever going to be able to grip on her the same way, because Tupac's imprint is there to stay. Right. And truth be told, after really digging, it didn't even seem like Tupac liked her like that. But that's who she wanted. She wanted the man who didn't want her as much, but the man who really made himself available to her and did everything that women say they want. This is sometimes how you are rewarded when you choose the wrong woman. You don't listen to what women say. You watch how they react to things, and that's how you learn to treat them. This woman was not supposed to be treated like that. Jada Pinkett Smith was supposed to be a bust down, in all honesty. She was supposed to be a flyby, right? You were supposed to have your fun and keep it moving, because she deserves nothing more, in my opinion. And I can't just let Will Smith off the hook either. He has demonstrated what a weak man looks like, right? For you to sit there and be an attack dog for a woman who doesn't even love you. And now it kind of looks crazy. That situation that whole slap situation looks crazy, because it looks like he might have really did that just because Chris Rock asked her out. And guess what? That means Chris Rock ain't had no respect for homeboy, because if you know each other, we're in the same field, we're in the same industry. Why would you push up on somebody who's not just like somebody who I smashed? This was my wife, and you gonna go ahead and push up before the ink is dry? You think that there's a divorce, so you gonna push up and ask out? Like that's how thirsty you are, Chris Rock. What we doing, man? Like there's so many things wrong with this. For him to allow this constant disrespect because he said he didn't want to fail at marriage and go ahead and fake it for 7+ years just because of the image they want to portray. That's crazy, because now, what does it look like now? Now that everyone really knows. And it's not like people found out, ooh, gotcha. She did it herself because she's exhausted as much as she could have with that relationship. And now she's like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do the tell-all book. I'm going to go ahead and get a bag again. Sold you out for a bag. No respect. I don't want to take up too much time, but I just had to let that out. I got more, but I'm going to leave it there because I know other people want to speak tonight.
Yeah, man, you were pretty passionate about that, Trev Smooth. Must have hit home for you, brother.
Can I go next?
I got no love for
Hold on. I want to get one of the ladies in there, and then we'll circle it back. Go ahead, Nika. What are your thoughts about it, man?
All right. Hi, everybody. Well, I'm just going to say this. I think that when it comes to being faithful, I can't speak too much into the whole Hollywood thing. I'm not into a lot of celebrity stuff. But when it comes to being faithful, it's a series of choices that you make every single day. When it comes to being a pick-me, like some people call me, it means that you're getting picked over and over again every single day, every moment you're getting picked. And so I think that, just generally speaking, when you look at the entire situation, Hollywood is just really a lot of smoke and mirrors. I think a lot of viewers feel deceived, by this whole idea that Will and Jada have been separated for 7 years. And I think it just speaks to the lies that we've been told over and over again. And so clearly they have not been picking each other. They have not been choosing each other, but they have been creating this fallacy to the public that they're still together. So I think it just the entire situation reeks of distrust, you know, in terms of now as a potential fan of Will Smith or whatever, you know, I'm going to be a lot more sort of hesitant to, you know, a lot, you know, for example, his book, a lot of people were praising his book that came out. Now it makes me question what kind of lies were told, because the fact that he was separated for 7 years never came up in his book, but it came up in her book. So I think there's a lot of questions. And yeah, I'm just curious about those day-to-day decisions and or lies that they have to continue to tell to keep up with their facades that they've been putting on.
Okay. We're gonna go to Let Go and then Shonda. Go ahead, Let Go.
I'm sorry, Trev. That was pathetic, man. I feel sorry for any man, any black man that blames Jada Pinkett for this. Okay. And I'm dead serious. It's really disgusting every time I see a man sit here and talk mess about Jada Pinkett. This is Will Smith. Will Smith is the trash person, not Jada Pinkett. Jada Pinkett was this drug addicted, sex addicted, Tupac addicted person that Will seen as who she was and chose. Just like I call women pookie pickers, he picked her. Anytime I tell a woman, don't be a pookie picker, I don't blame the pookie. I blame her, because people love to say it takes two to make a baby. It takes two to no, it takes one person to say yes, right? So if this man had any self-respect for himself, he would have chosen another woman, or he would have stayed in his marriage before he left his marriage for her. So this is not about Jada Pinkett. Jada Pinkett, just like we talked about Remy Ma, a woman that shot somebody and went to prison, and this cornball is going to sitting Indian style with the damn woman every day while she in prison. Like, these dudes are the problem. These weak ass mommy needing dudes are the problem, not the women. A stray cat is a stray cat. It is up to me to go out and pick up a stray cat, carry it in my house, and allow it to tear my damn house up and leave it in my house. You don't blame the stray cat for tearing up your damn house. The stray cat was doing what it was doing before you even picked it up. We choose the women that we bring into our house. So I want to give y'all proof on why this ain't Jada Pinkett's fault. Listen.
We didn't want to get married, but we only got married because Gammy was crying. We didn't want to get married, but we only got married because Gammy was crying.
Gammy is the mother of Jada Pinkett. So they were just smashing. And then she got pregnant. And she still didn't want the dude. She didn't want the baby. He was like, no, I want this, I want that. And he went to her mom and was like, yo, I want to take care of both of y'all. Gammy lives with both of them. I mean, Gammy lives in the house with both of them right now. Gammy, the mother, I always talk about toxic moms, right? Gammy was on drugs, and her husband at the time was on drugs. She was going broke. She seen this whole situation as a come up. Jada Pinkett had a house in Baltimore on a ranch. She didn't care about nothing. She was chilling. Here come her mama. Girl, you need to get with him. Girl, he like you. Girl, he wants you. Girl, you need to marry him. She's like, I don't want none of this. I just want to live on a farm and with goats. I'm a country. I don't care about this stuff. Guess what Gammy said? The mama, the toxic mama, do this for me. You got to understand, back in the 90s, Will Smith was the most popular, most successful, hottest black man on the face of the earth. There was no other black man that was hotter than Will Smith, including Denzel. No other man. And he wanted Jada. Gammy was like, come on. You like, what woman would just say no to the beginning of Will Smith's career? Not now, the beginning of Will Smith's career. What Independence Day? Who's going to turn that down? So no, she was just a stray cat, and he picked her up and took her with him. I get sick of you men. Like, because it's a form of weakness. I'm never just going to be running around blaming no damn woman for a man's life. It's the man's fault. I always say women are children. Women don't control shit. Women don't control nothing, even in a household. The man allows her to control something if she does control it. So at the end of the day, this is on Will Smith's punk ass and not Jada Pinkett. I'm sick of y'all. Every time a man looks stupid, y'all turn around and blame the damn woman. Y'all blame women for every goddamn thing. And it's pathetic.
Hey, real quick, only because you dropped my name. Let go. Right now, what you're expressing is the fact that you have no empathy at all, and it appears that you lack understanding seriously. For one, I didn't let Will Smith off the hook at all. That's actually what I ended with. Secondly, if I was to slap the hell out of somebody right now, if I slapped the female up like crazy, right, and she let me, and she keeps letting me abuse her, who's going to get prosecuted? The abuser. Regardless of how naive or trash Will Smith may be as a man, which I understand, which is why I didn't let him off the hook in the first place, right? Regardless of what, he went into the situation in good faith. Jada Pinkett Smith went in manipulating.
Good faith?
She is the aggressor, and that's the problem.
Manipulating?
I understand that listen, as a man, I tell men don't ever be weak, right? It's unacceptable. I understand that. You have to do better. You have to work on your vetting process. We understand all that, which I mentioned that.
Can you
but what I'm
explain how
telling
she
you is that
manipulated him? That's all I want to know.
how did she manipulate him?
Yes.
Did you see
Will,
the entire
Will
saga?
actually
Like,
manipulated her.
Thank you. What are you
Yeah,
talking about?
I have
okay.
Will's book. So in Will's book, he talks about how he was served his divorce papers from his first wife, right?
Mhm.
5 days later, he calls Jada and says,
Yes.
"Are you with somebody?"
I'm
And she
ready.
goes, no. He's like, "Well, you with me now?"
Boom.
So Will was served divorce papers, and
Went out
they,
and got her the next day.
yeah, pretty much 5 days later, he asked Jada to be his girl.
And
And
he's
so his ex-wife.
oh, did he ask?
So yes,
He
he
went
asked
and
her.
cried
And then
to
his
his
ex-wife,
in order to get
Okay.
away from her.
Y'all,
So
this
she
is
could
right,
be
this
his
is
ex-wife
pathetic.
wanted to work it out. She said, "Look, I don't think we tried everything. I don't think we tried to make it work." And so Will, taking the advice of others, and the advice from others was divorce her, let her take half of what you got, keep the holidays with the kids, keep, with your son. And that's what he did. So I don't think, and like Mr. Lego was saying, Jada, she was wanting to live on a farm. She didn't want the Hollywood life, but
She didn't want none of that.
her mother persuaded her to be with Will
Oh,
Smith.
okay. So
So
was it her mother that persuaded her? And that's the whole
Matter,
thing.
it
yes,
wasn't.
and she was
Oh my
pregnant.
God. He's trying to sit here and try to find somebody to blame. It's Will Smith's punk ass fault, bro. Don't blame the mom. Don't blame nobody.
So
He
you're
her.
saying that it's his fault that she went and cheated on him with
Yes.
your son's friend?
Yes. If I know how
That's
to
his
get-
fault.
Hold on. Let me
Well,
explain.
no, because Jada could have said, "I don't like you like that," or
He
"I don't want
wasn't
to be with
cheating
you."
though. Like I
Hold
think
on.
sometimes with this,
Let me just say this.
we
Let me
hear
just
what
say
we
this one
want to
thing.
hear. She
One
was
at a time, y'all. They cannot hear us.
Let me just say this one thing. If I go out and go get a crackhead off the street, okay? If I go out and I'm not saying nothing about sex workers, but if I go to a strip club, fall in love with a stripper, and then say, "Hey, I got, I don't know, $10 million, right? Let's go." She's going, right? Do you think she's going to cheat on me with the next door neighbor? Yes. Why? Because she comes from a certain life, whether it's a crackhead or the sex worker. That's what they're used to doing. Okay. What you don't understand is Jada Pinkett, without the money, was a sex worker. She was a sex addict. She was worse than a sex worker. She was doing it for free. She literally said it multiple times. She was addicted to sex. She'd give
No, I
somebody
know
ass
all that.
anybody. and you bring that type of person in your house, you don't think she gonna fuck whoever walks in it? Are you serious? And you blame that on, bro?
Okay, hold tight. Okay, hold tight, y'all. Hold tight. Let me get Sean in there, and then we'll circle it around. Go ahead, Sean. What are your thoughts about what's going on?
I really haven't been keeping much. I saw it, but I never really been keeping up with it. But if I did give my opinion, I do believe that Jada, she probably was, her heart is bruised from probably since dating Tupac. Like that's probably where her love for anybody kind of just stopped or left. And as far as Will, he, I'm sure he did have some type of toxicity to within him to even be attracted to that with Jada. But back then he probably had that ego of I can get who I want, and Jada, she was so, she was it back then. So so now it was probably his ego that wanted Jada. But when so Jada probably is just his karma, at this point. And I do agree as far as him allowing her to lead, because it seemed like he kind of went in with the happy wife, happy life mentality, and it kind of just everything just went downhill as far as their whole marriage. Yeah.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Thank
you. I guess everybody idolized their marriage and everything, and now it's kind of just coming to the surface at this point.
Okay. You can't run around picking trash people and then blame the damn trash person. This shit is crazy, man.
I'm curious about Marcus. What you guys got on this, Marcus?
Let go right. I mess with you, Trev, but let go right. And then to make it worse, this man's daughter writing a letter to somebody she never met before. I couldn't even look at my kids the same. I'm on double betrayal.
And she wasn't even born when he was alive. So that means it all came from her programming.
That is so wild. Know how that is so. You know how hard your woman has to be disrespecting you for your child to think about another man and write that letter out and then let it get exposed to the world. The disrespect is at an all-time high. It's no way that should have happened. Period. Ever. Never, ever, ever should that have happened. I'm just sitting there shaking my head like, damn, he done fucked up. Damn, he done let this go. Damn, he keep letting this go. Mr. Lego 100% right. That's all on him. Men supposed to be masters of their own fate, controllers of their own destiny.
Thank you.
How you gonna let somebody else interrupt that process, and then how you out here looking goofier than that thing? Nah, that's all on him. 100% on him.
I take manhood seriously, y'all, and I take responsibility for all of my goddamn actions, whether right or wrong. I will never blame a goddamn woman for anything that goes on in my life.
Do you see what's happening, though? How everybody is holding Will Smith responsible for everything that you referred to, including you, Marcus. What you referred to was an action that Jada Pinkett Smith did. How can you say that it's his fault when all the actions that we're all referring to are things that Jada Pinkett Smith did? That's outrageous. How is that? How can you do that?
Because
if you welcome a vampire in your house
and
he eats everybody in the house, you let the damn vampire in the house. Do you blame the vampire, or do you blame you letting the vampire in the house eating up all you people in the house?
It's like getting locked up on a drug case.
Go ahead,
no
Perry.
one just went out there and did all that stuff and then being mad at the system after you get caught, bro. Those are the consequences of your actions. You just gotta live with it at this point.
Last week we had
Do you blame the crack? It's just go ahead. I'm sorry.
Last week we had a long conversation where the men said if you continuously allow a woman to disrespect you and you don't have no control over that situation, you are the problem. And this is where I have the conflict in this particular situation. I can absolutely hold Jada accountable for letting people infiltrate her marriage by releasing secrets that should be between her and her husband. That by making herself and her marriage vulnerable to the court of public opinion. I can hold her accountable for that. But some of the things that have been occurring right on the Will nose, and it's so egregious to the point where it's like him not saying anything sets him up to make it look as if he has no control over his children or his household, regardless. it makes it look as if he is willing to take whatever abuse just to have this woman. If anybody actually knows the story, her and Tupac were never together. When Tupac was killed, he had a fiance that was with him the night he was killed, not Jada. Everything else is extravagant, okay? Everything else is a thick layer that she's adding the extra coating on. She said this man was a soulmate, but they had no chemistry. Those two things don't even go together. I cannot be your soulmate if we have no romantic chemistry. It don't even go together. So either one or two things are happening. Either she delusional and she feel like she missed the love that she was supposed to have, or him and her had some form of sexual intercourse and she just refused to go ahead and tell it. It has to be one of those two things. There is no way you
think it's both.
Attach this type of huh?
I think it's both. I mean, she's already kind of portrayed herself as being delusional or not all the way.
It has to be something. But the fact that Tupac is not alive, it's like she dances and she skates around and she is the person who's telling the narrative. Every woman that ever has a picture with Tupac, it all looks the same way. Every woman that ever was involved with Tupac, it all looks the same way. He was a ladies' man, and he was just a cool guy. Like, he just knew how to make women feel comfortable. And even when it came down to him and Will, he knew Will had a problem with him. You ain't never heard Tupac disrespect Will, but you've heard him disrespect several other men in the industry. He had no problem with it. I do not think she meant to him what she wanted to mean to him. And I feel like she missed the love that she thought she should have had, and it shows. There's no way. Right. There's no way Willow, she was born maybe 5-6 years after this man passed, should have written a letter that entailed saying, I wish you were here to make me and my mommy happy. It makes no sense. But
that sounds like a fairy tale that Jada could have put in her kid's head. She probably told them.
The reality is the only way her children can know of this man is by her own admittance. Will was, and Will has said it. He was not around. He was working. Jada stayed at home. Jada ain't had no real gig since the actual early 2000s, but her most recent thing was in 2007 when she did Girls Trip. That was the last thing Jada has done. Like, let's be honest, past the 2000s, Jada was known for her previous work she did in the 90s. She is not the actress today. We know her for Red Table Talk, doing interviews, because she used to be a 90s sex symbol. That's it.
Don't forget Hawthorne. She was on Hawthorne. Hawthorne.
Yeah. But overall, the credibility of it now is her being attached to Will. And at this point, I'm happy that it came out, because I feel like she has been trying to tell us, and I feel like we hear what we want to hear with this couple. Will said back in the 2018 when everything came out with August Alsina, he said then, we were not together, we were separated. You guys heard she cheated on him. He had other women. Him and Margie Robert were on a whole nother thing together. Will still has other women. Just because you don't see it don't mean it's not happening. And because you would not allocate that level of disrespect with your wife does not mean you are him. We're not playing the same game that they are playing. The woman did not cheat on that man. He allowed her to go fuck off. That's what it was.
I believe that.
Like you don't have to like it, but that's what happened. That man let her move out the house. That man had his ex-wife in the house with him and Jada. He was taking care of him and his ex-wife. They were on trips together. That man was having his way. And when he got tired of having his way, and she got tired of having his way, she went on her way. And I just don't like how she put everybody in her business.
Yeah.
But we got some accountability in this situation.
Just for the record, Will Smith allowed, keyword allowed, for this woman to have Red Table Talk in their living room.
He did. He allowed it.
So you can't turn around and say, I can't believe this woman says all this stuff on Red Table Talk. The man is in the bedroom when she's divulging all this bullshit. It came from Will. Will. She didn't go off somewhere making Red Table Talk. It was in her living room.
He
I
actually left
believe
his
Jada wanted
family.
to hurt Will though. I
He
believe
left his
same
family
thing
for
hurt
3
him.
months and traveled overseas by himself. Like he did. So it's like I understand, but Jada to me sounds like a woman who is lonely. She sounds like she missed her real companion, and her husband know this, and he won't listen to her nag about it no more. So she go tell everybody else. The woman sounds
I
lonely.
agree.
She sounds hurt, and she sounds like she missed
She
out
never
on the
wanted to
love
be
she
there.
was supposed to have. She
You should have
didn't.
stayed on the farm.
She never wanted to be there, and he forced
Yeah.
it. He forced this marriage. He did.
But
He should
ladies,
have stayed with his ex-wife.
but Precious, I want you to think about it. Just all y'all. Men in Black, Will Smith, not just Will Smith. Men in Black, Will Smith, right? The end of the world. It like every 4th of July, here comes Will Smith saving the world, right? You don't want to be with Will Smith. Will Smith is a cornball. But this man comes and says, I gotta have you, Precious. You going. And you just gonna hate your life. And you're gonna hate your life every day, but you still going. Because who in the world is gonna turn Mr. 4th of July action movie star every year down? Like your whole family look at you like you crazy. So I understand female nature. Women go do stuff that they don't necessarily want to do for certain lifestyles, or they'll compare this lifestyle with that lifestyle. They're going to go. And sometimes they don't want to, but they have to for whatever reason.
And that's a problem. That's a huge problem.
So Trev, I get how you could see how she, because her behavior is deplorable, right? We all agree on that. We just putting the blame squarely at his feet, because as men, I think a lot of men fall into this trap, right? Where you are so infatuated with a woman, you put her on a pedestal, and then you allow these things to occur because you pedestalize her. This is what I mean when I say you should not be in a situation where you're just overly infatuated with the woman, because our love and their love does not equate the same. A man looking up to a woman and being so in love and infatuated with her will always end with disrespect. And a woman looking up to a man and being infatuated with him will end in a great, happy, long relationship. We appreciate each other differently, and we communicate differently, and we intermingle differently. And unfortunately, this is an example of a woman that didn't want you, and you forced that issue. At any time, any man in the audience, any man that's watching, you force the issue from a woman who feels that she's better than you or looks down on you, you will find yourself in this position in some way, shape, or form in the future. It is not a good deal. Never take it. Care about yourself enough to understand that you deserve to be treated and respected this way as a man. And if you don't set those boundaries and make sure you get that, everything that happens from that point on lays squarely in the feet or in your lap. That is your fault. It is your fault at that point.
I like that.
Understood. Now this is things that I preach on a regular basis. Go ahead.
I'm gonna come back around. Let me just get the other people.
All right, I got you.
All right, go ahead, Clap.
All right. I wanted to say that I agree with things that were said on both sides. Like I agree with a lot of what Trev said, and I also agree with Mr. Lego said. I think what they're debating is like the difference between like blame and responsibility. So 100% everything that goes on in the relationship is entirely Will Smith's responsibility. But I think Trev is right when he says like the blame though for specific actions has to be on Jada Pinkett Smith. And one point he made that I also agreed with was he talked about empathy. And it's like we talk about like, you know, the situation that Will Smith is in, and I agree, he's in a bad situation and he chose it. But when it comes to empathy, right? Okay, let's look at let's look at his life and look at the person, how he was shaped as a person. From my understanding, this is a person who witnessed his mom get abused, right? And so this is someone who like has a savior complex built in because of the abuse that he witnessed his mom through growing up. He felt like when he was a young boy, he felt as though he failed her. And so now it's not hard to conceive that in his older age, he would feel the need to take on a woman who many might perceive as broken, because he might feel like the right thing to do as a man is to fix her or protect her, right? So if we're using empathy, we kind of got to understand that his life, that very well might be what's driving him. On top of that, now we also have to have empathy for the fact that Will Smith's brand has always, since day one, been extremely clean. It's always been a very family friendly brand. And what does that mean? that means that even if Will Smith wants to wild out and be single, he really can't. Like, we're talking about it from a perspective of people who have never been the biggest movie star in the world. Will Smith was the biggest movie star in the world at a point. He was the biggest actor in the world at a point. And so he has a lot of weight on his shoulders as far as representing just the black community in general. Like, he was the poster child, the face of the professional black man, you know? So it's like, if we're being empathetic to his situation, it's like, whether he wanted to or not, he needed to have a wife, right? He did jump from situation to situation and probably didn't give it time to heal, but he needed a wife. A person like Will Smith during that time, we're talking about in the 90s, he was never going to excel to the levels that he excelled to if he didn't have a wife to continue
Wow,
that
he had a wife.
family.
He had a wife.
He had a wife.
His
Hold on, hold
wife.
on. He had a wife. I agree
So
that
hold
he
on,
had a
man.
wife. I agree that he had a wife, but it wasn't picture perfect. His
Oh
wife wasn't like we even have songs where they said, "Oh, we want to be like Will and Jada." We're underestimating the power behind that black love brand, right? And behind that Will and Jada thing and that family thing and the kids being named Willow and Jaden, like that in itself is an entire brand, an entire empire. And in order for them to get to a certain level, that's what they had to do. He had to that's what he foresaw for his brand. So I think that's something we're overlooking. Now, when it comes to his situation, I agree with Paris as well. Like, I definitely think he's somebody who was having his way. He was living his life the way he wanted to live it. And so that's another reason why he lets Jada rock with what's going on. Because the only way that he can live the life he wants to and avoid public scrutiny because of his brand is he has to have a mask. And Jada is part of that mask. She's the face. She's the face of the brand. And so on the back end, we don't know who he's with and who he's kicking it with, but we still know them as Will and Jada and the Smith family with the kids and on top of that.
I think
Now,
Jada.
now on another note, I want to say something else. Now, this is something I can't prove. This is something that's not fact. So I don't want to put it out there as if it's fact or as if it's gossip. But somebody said this in the chat, and I think there's some truth to it. People might agree, people might disagree. Someone said that Jada Pinkett is a beard, and if you know what a beard is is someone who is there to create a heterosexual facade for someone who might be gay or bisexual. Now, again, I don't know Will Smith's business, so I can't say I don't know, but I'm not going to say that there haven't been things that he's done or that there's never been speculation about his sexuality. I mean, one of his first movies that he broke into was him playing a gay role. So I think that also could be a factor. Like, the reason why he might be accepting a lot of this from her is because her presence may be allowing him to hide a certain lifestyle that he may not be able to show the public. So there's a lot going on. You have his abuse growing up. You have the relationship. You have the branding, and I think it all mixes together to have a perfect situation for a perfect disaster. But again, I'm not saying I disagree with what Lego said. I 100% agree also that is his responsibility to like, if this is not the situation that he wants to be in and he is getting disrespected by his wife, he definitely absolutely should not be accepting that, and he should be combating that to the fullest degree. But I don't know what's going on in his life. There seems to be a reason why he's keeping her around that we don't know about. And but I also agree with Trev because like her actions are pretty sucky. Like yo, the red table talk thing, yeah, he might have approved it, but a certain quality of woman would never even have conceived red table talks. You know,
She was
like,
never a
like
certain quality of woman.
and on top of that, hold on, I'm not done. And on top of that, one thing Paris mentioned too is Paris made it clear that whatever Will Smith is doing, we don't know about it, right? Like we're saying he went off the country, but we don't hear about Will Smith's business, but we hear about Jada's business. So that just shows a difference in so they could both be running the streets. But in reality, on some level, Will Smith respects that relationship more than she does because we don't know none of his dirt. That shit is as quiet as a mouse.
The
So I'm
only
gonna
thing
land there.
that I can't give you, everything else I understand. And even the beard thing, I won't get into that. I feel like we do that thing where we try to make every man in Hollywood gay. I don't do that, especially with black men, because it's unnecessary. But I will say, when it comes to him having a savior complex, I'm not gonna give you no brownie points for that one, Clout. You had a wife. If imagery was important for you, that means you shouldn't have been able to go through a first divorce in the first place, regardless of how you righted that wrong, right? Regardless of how you righted that wrong. The reality is Will has said this, his ex-wife has said this, and Jada has said this. He begged and pleaded. He started being mean to that woman. He started basically forcing her out the door so he can go and be with Jada.
So he could be with Jada.
Have no guilt behind it. But
she wasn't broken. That's why. He wasn't saving her. She wasn't broken.
No,
but Jada was.
No, listen.
And guess what? Like you said, right?
Oh, let her finish, bro.
He ended up taking care of that ex-wife later, correct?
No, that's not the point. You made a point about imagery. He already had the perfect image. Jaden is his first son. And instead of him actually owning, right, this is the family that I created, I may have to miss out on her. What he did was force this woman into a divorce after he was already hounded down Jada in the process of him being with his wife. Jada was constantly turning him down. Constantly. Like, she was constantly, it was always a thing. He eventually got her, but they got married on an accident. It was on a whim. They got married because it seemed like the right thing to do because she was pregnant. That was the imagery. The real imagery was, I'm not gonna make Jada Pinkett a baby mama. But before then, Jaden was already born. Jaden was like 7 when Jade Troy. No, his name is
Troy.
Troy was Trey. Trey was already born when Jaden came into the picture.
Trey was in his music video.
They're like 6 or 7 years apart. So the imagery was, you already a divorcee, and then you got a baby mama, and then you turn around and you marry her just because she was pregnant. So that's where the imagery, but it was literally 7 years in between then. That man made that decision. And the fact that he sat there and talked all the time about how, dealing with Trey, feeling left out, how Jada had to go and bring them together because her and the ex-wife didn't get along. The best solution was moving the ex-wife into the house. So you still ended up with your ex-wife anyways. You did not right no wrong or make your image no better. All you did was take that bill and put it in the house with you.
So when you look at,
I would say, like, you just dropped some stuff that I didn't know. Being that you just dropped some stuff.
Hold on, bro. He was literally.
Yeah, I just want to respond to Paris real quick.
Hold on, Lego. Go
ahead. Yeah, I was just gonna say you dropped some stuff that I didn't know. So I would say I'm gonna give you that. But one thing I would say is, like, to add to the savior complex thing, right? It's like later in life, right? Like you said, the ex-wife ends up back with him. So maybe she's having some trouble now. And now the savior complex kicked back in, and it's, hey, come stay with us. But I think that in order for him to engage, he has to feel like he's saving him in some way.
Jada made that suggestion. Suggestion because the ex-wife was so mad and angry with Will. She still wanted her husband. She went and begged and pleaded on her knees to be back with that man. Even after she knew he was with Jada. Even after then. She basically was ready to be a side bitch to her ex-husband. Jada was the one who sat them down because she had got very bitter behind me.
Jada actually encouraged them to get back together. And Will said, I want to be with you.
Because guess what? Because Jada didn't want to be there in the first place. So the thing about it is, when you talk about image, what type of image is a man leaving his wife and have a child to, because you got to understand, when he actually blew up, it was after his son, because of course he was a rapper at first, right? So his first image was with Trey. He would have Trey in his music videos or whatever, right? As a rapper. So his image was already put out there as a good father of this little boy. So what type of image is he trying to have or portray by leaving the little boy that he was doing all these videos with to be with this other person? So no, that blows the whole image thing out the water, because he had an image already as a good dad.
I just want to ask a question real quick. Based off what Paris said, it's giving me the impression that that Will Smith is exhibiting a few narcissistic qualities. So I just wonder if Paris, like, do you
No,
feel
he's
like
the narcissist.
he's a narcissist
He's the
and
narcissist. It's
Jada
not.
is actually responding, like this abuse that he's given is
Yes.
like a response of
Yes.
abuse to his behavior?
Yes. He's
to
the actual
me,
narcissist.
To me, I feel like I can't.
She
I
is
don't have. I will say this. I don't have enough of what Will Smith has said or done in order to make the rationale that he's a narcissist, because Jada has said something to me that made me feel like she was a little bit ungrateful. Like when she made the commentary about he threw her a surprise birthday party for her 40th or 45th birthday. And then she was like, I called him selfish and egotistical. How dare you throw a party for me for my birthday? That wasn't for me. That was for you. So I think that
but that would
What's
corroborate
wrong with that,
the
Paris?
narcissistic thing, though.
Listen to what I'm saying, right? From what we see, there are a lot of grand gestures that he shows in a way that shows that, oh, he loves, he admires, he appreciates his wife. But on the other end, her responses to those things look like, I don't really fuck with you like that. Like on her birthday specifically, like this year, he made a post and shouted her out, and then she turned around and said something about her and Tupac. So it's kind of like, I can't say Will is a narcissist.
So, Paris, think about this real quick.
I can't say Will is a narcissist. I will
think
say
about this. Think
Hey,
about this.
we do got to get Casey and Precious in there so we can go ahead and try to close it.
Look at this. If I had a girlfriend, right? I don't really do much for my birthday. I don't care about birthdays like that, right? Go out every night. But if I had a woman that wanted to have this huge celebration, I'd be like, yo, I'm good. I'm not gonna want to do it, right? And if she does it anyway, and it brings the celebration to our house, and say we got this big ass house, I'm gonna be like, yeah, but I told you that I don't like this. Remember, I said, and it's not me saying it, is what she said. She simply just wanted to have a ranch with some chickens, and that is all she wanted. She doesn't want Mary J. Blige in her house dancing around. So when it came to her being depressed, remember, the reason why he did that birthday party like that was because she was already depressed. So imagine a woman that's depressed. He's having Mary J. Blige and all these people celebrating her birthday. She don't want all these people in her damn house. She just wants peace and quiet. He did this because he made her birthday about him. He wanted to show everybody how great of a husband he was so people can look at him. And that's the reason why she said, "You like this is all about you," because she was literally depressed at the time. Don't no depressed person want Mary J. Blige in a house.
Hold tight,
Look,
y'all. Hold on. Let me get Precious in there and Casey, and we got to start transitioning off this one, y'all. Go ahead, Precious.
I just think it's a case of two people who got together for the wrong reasons. They just got together for the wrong reasons, and now they're pretending to be something that they not, and that they pretty much never were. So when you have that, I mean, when a child comes into play and you get married because of the child, how long do you think is going to last? You know, how much of a loving relationship do you truly have? I don't think that Jada really was feeling Will. And I think that Will was hurt from his first marriage, didn't want to make it work, snagged up Jada real quick. They, created whatever kind of bond that they created. And now they're in a situation where, we're believing one thing and it's not that. But I think with Jada and how verbose she is about her business, it's not far off to believe that they're not together, or that they don't have a connection, or that they're not living in the same house. August Alsina has said that he sat down with Will and got his blessing to have sex with this woman. So when you hear stuff like that, it's like, okay, what kind of marriage do y'all really have? I don't think it's the traditional, type of marriage. And I just don't think that they're ever going to get a divorce on paper, because Will truly believed in marriage in his first marriage. I just don't think that he wanted to go through the rigmarole of working it out there. So he got married again. I don't think he's ever going to get a paper divorce. I think that they're going to stay exactly how they are. It's been working, it's been selling, and it's been bringing in money. So that's what they're going to do. That's what I believe.
Go ahead, Casey.
Wow. I mean, I feel like we can talk about this literally for hours because there's so many intricate details um, to the situation. And Red Table Talk really gave extra insight into more of who Jada is. Um, Things that were speculated across the years. It really showed her personality. But I'm gonna be real with you. I think Jada and Will, they're a facade. They're both actors. At this point, you really can't believe anything that comes out of Jada's mouth. Um, I don't know whether she's a child that's having a full blown like, breakdown and just going rogue to Will and the plan or whatever the plan was. And that's why she's constantly spilling secrets and telling things that she shouldn't tell in interviews on the red table, on Instagram. I just think that some of it may be true, some of it may be complete fantasy. As far as the stuff with Tupac, I completely agree with Precious and what Clout was saying about I think it was Precious that said about the whole she thinks that it's kind of a glue situation, and Shanda was saying that it's possibly just complete fantasy with Tupac. We'll never know the truth. She's a person that is just who talks about a person so much after they go with another person. And then not only are you just talking about that person to your family, but you're telling the world in interviews and on social media, like you just won't let that person go. It's given obsessed to me at this point, right? After all these years. And then the letter that Willow wrote, it's giving a little weird, morbid, fantasy, made up, and not fact, complete fiction. Like she's written a fictional novel about their relationship. And I agree with Paris. Tupac was a ladies' man. Anybody who was in his presence had a smile on his face, on their face. Like he made people comfortable. He enjoyed. I think he was a people person. He was a guy's guy, and he was a ladies' man. So that's what I feel about that. And I think their relationship was embellished all these years, completely embellished. And just to wrap it up with Will and her now, I don't believe in it. For them to fake it for the past 7 years, like they're together, to see that clip of her on Andy and see Andy asking her, how do you keep it spicy after all these years? Jada was so caught off guard. Jada said, well,
I don't know.
and Queen Latifah was sitting there like, like I think everybody around they know it's fake, and she's a great actress. She's great on screen, and I think that they are both acting their behind off. They're both talented actors and actresses, and they're acting at this point. So moving forward, I don't believe anything I see. Just like Tia was a mess on Black Love, like lying her behind off, acting. They're all actors, y'all. We cannot believe anything they say.
And the reality of it is, Tupac's his fiance, in passing, she don't care for Jada. She don't like her. She can't. She's also came out and said that Jada adds on a thick layer of extra for whatever reason. But that woman has denounced Jada's whole thing several times. It's just the fact that Jada is Jada, and she has the platform to create and control the narrative. And every time something goes on with Tupac, she jumps out in front of it. Even when they did the All Eyes on Me, she hated the story. She came out about it. She made statements saying that she didn't support it and it was wrong and people shouldn't support it. And it's just weird at this point. It's very much so weird because, again, either one or two things happening. She creating this delusion of what she feel like really happened between them, or they had sex and she just won't say it.
All right,
And
we
we
go.
just have to also realize, I'm sorry, Lapeef, just to say this last thing. Like y'all everyone has said, Jada was raised with her parents on heroin, her mother sleeping around in the middle of drug usage. This woman needs some serious help. Like the way she talks, she on Red Table Talk, it doesn't sound like she's completely healed of her childhood trauma and all that her mother put her through and the things that she had to experience. It all comes out in those conversations, her point of view and everything. So I there's some help that needs to be had.
And Casey, just think about this. This man who's on top of the world goes out and married a person like this. That's why I say it's his fault, because all of that was going on when they were dating. When they were dating, it was a story where she needed so much sex where he actually threw up because he was so tired of having sex with her. Look it up.
This is for there's a lot here, man. So we got to go ahead and move on to the other topics. You guys just tuning in. Welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk. Let's make sure we hit the like button, and also make sure you hit the subscribe button and share the stream right now. Let me get to these super chats. The Will said it pains me to say this, but I agree with Mr. Let Go. It's Will's fault. He wifed up a woman that didn't F with him like that for real. Doe Will again, 499 says, I take it back. I don't agree with Mr. Let Go. I agree with Marcus. Black TV says broken people love broken people, like shattered mirror pieces being put together. Will and Jada. Nelson Media, what's going on, Nelson? 199 says Will Smith is not the actual narcissist. He's a professional, so yeah, I might have him call in to give his take. Miss Jackson, 199 says she a bit, and he insecure. The world is a stage. Lastly, Hink in the Basement, $2 says Jada was wrong, telling all their marital business. I want to thank everybody that has contributed to the platform thus far. And all we ask for is likes. So just hit that like button and make sure you subscribe. Let's go ahead. How y'all doing? Y'all good? Y'all okay? Let's make sure we share that mic, y'all. Make sure we share that mic. I know we do have some new people on the panel. I'm going to try to get y'all in the middle. I know it's y'all first time, so I like to kind of get the people that's been there in. But y'all gonna come right behind them in the mix, all right? Y'all good? Any hurt feelings before it needs to be filled out? No? Are y'all feeling attacked?
I feel attacked.
Miss Lego, you always feel attacked. No, like HR already called me about you already, man. It's a long report, man. It's the investigation's still going on, so yeah. So, right now, I'm just I'll leave it up to HR. I want to put that out there. All right, moving on to our next topic. I do not have a video about this, but just a question for the panel. Can your support system ever sabotage your relationship? Can your support system ever sabotage your relationship? I'm going to go ahead and start with you first, Casey. What are your thoughts about that?
How did I feel that you were coming to me? That was crazy. Yes. Your support system can sabotage your relationship, and that goes for close friends, family, and or parents. I really do feel bad for people who are in serious relationships or in marriages, and they're surrounded by people who don't have wisdom when it comes to just being self-regulated, and also know and have some wisdom and knowledge when it comes to long-term relationships and marriages. Some people who have wisdom with just giving good sound advice for the long term, and people who don't speak into emotional temporary feelings of arguments and situations that couple may be in currently. It's very, very important, because depending on where you are in your life, you're going to be more of a sponge to the people that you love, and you're going to care about their opinion of you and how you deal with your relationships or marriages. So you're going to hold weight at different ages and stages in your life, possibly a little differently. So it's just really important that your support system, that they are not playing into whatever emotional situation that you could be in, that the reason that you could be asking for some advice. I'll land it there and I'll come back to it.
All right. Go ahead, Precious.
I believe your support system can sabotage your relationship if you let them. You have to have clear boundaries with people, and a lot of times that does include your family, because your family can want what they want for you, and it might not be the right thing for you. Of course, we would like to look towards our family to help us make certain decisions, but at the end of the day, when you're an adult and you're in it, you know what you're dealing with. Your family don't necessarily know what you're dealing with. That's why even Hank with that super chat that he left about Jada telling the marital business. You know, they say that when you tell your family what's going on with you and your spouse, you know, when y'all over it, your family is still mad. Your family still got, you know, resentment, or your family still got an opinion about that other person. So you have to be careful what you share with your family. You have to be careful how you let them in to your relationship, and they shouldn't even be in your relationship. You should be your support system. They should be the extremities if necessary. You know, when you get married, you leave your home. You leave and cleave. That's what you're supposed to do. So you now create your own family. You create your own rules, but you have to create boundaries with the people that's been in your life, because you can't allow them to come in and sabotage your relationship. And then you got kids, you got, you know, other people that are in the situation. You have to protect that. And so allowing, you know, your support system to come in and sabotage that is only going to, you know, honestly leave you alone.
Okay. Go ahead, Cloud Jones.
Yeah, I would agree that your support system can, sabotage your relationship if you allow it them to. But I would say that's not a really good support system. Someone in the chat actually said something that stood out to me, Erica. She said, "Isn't your relationship supposed to be your support system?" And I think that's valid because, like, when you're in a relationship and you've decided, yo, this is the person I'm committing to, I think at that point, that person is supposed to be your support system. So if you're truly functioning in a space where your partner is your support system, then it would be impossible for anybody else to sabotage your relationship. Because why are you going to anybody else to talk about what y'all need to talk about anyway? If you're having a problem with your spouse, then you need to talk to your spouse about it. You know what I mean? Like talking to your homie or your cousin or your aunt, your uncle, whatever. That's not going to help your relationship because they're not in that relationship with that person, and they don't know the nuances of what y'all go through. It's much better to deal with that person directly, and a lot of times it's a lack of communication skills that force people to end up seeking support outside of the relationship. They don't know how to talk to their person. And so they're hoping that by talking to someone else, they might show them how to talk. But in reality, they just need to work on their communication skills and communicate directly with that person. And I think that if they're using that person as the support system, nothing can go wrong in that scenario.
All right. Go ahead, Shonda.
I agree. So your support system can interfere with your relationships. I've always been that person that kind of kept to myself when it came to my relationships, but you know, you can tell them small little things, but they're not there. That they're on the outside looking in. So they don't know everything that's really going on in a relationship. So those little small things, it makes that person that you're with, you know, it can make that person look bad in their eyes because they don't know, you know, again, they're on the outside looking in. So yeah, I agree.
Okay. Like I know you guys are speaking from husband and wife, but make sure you guys tap into if you're dating, because sometimes you may involve the family when it comes to vetting, or one may argue that you should include the family a little bit more when it comes to vetting. But
Okay.
speak from all angles, just so the people that's watching can kind of get an understanding how you feel before marriage and maybe into the marriage. I'm gonna go ahead and go to you, Nika. What are your thoughts about it?
I'm gonna go ahead and agree. I think your support system can be your ultimate sabotage, sadly. And I think what we just talked about with Will and Jada, I think is a good example of two people who at one point were each other's support system to some degree. And sounds like their downfall is a result of them both. But I think, what I think about with that statement is like, with your partner, let's just, whether you're dating or, anyone who you're dating or you're married to, you trust. There's a level of trust. You're telling secrets. And they have the ability, if things go bad, which I've been in a situation where I was in love and things went bad, they have that ability to flip the script on you, to expose you, to particularly if we're talking about a court situation where there's kids involved. I mean, there's a lot of dirty, nasty, mean things that can come out of that. And I think about that even, this idea of having a child with someone, but not even talking to the actual person that you had the child with. And think about how often that happens, where you have like a child exists. So at some point you guys were support enough to create that child. And then that same situation can at some point become your ultimate, that person can become your ultimate enemy. So yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Marcus.
So I heard a story. It might have been Grant Cardone, maybe it wasn't him, that was talking about think about the 5 people that you go to when me and you are having an issue, right? The 5 people that I go to are men, and they're going to take the opposite side and see what I did wrong and tell me the opposite. If the 5 people you go to are telling you that you're right, those people are sabotaging the relationship. They're not providing any prospect of balancing the equation. They're hearing a one-sided story and not even taking it into context. Maybe there's more to this. They're just siding with you because they feel that's a way of support. What you'll find is sometimes people be jealous of you and in competition with you, right? So they don't even want to see you in that relationship to begin with. They might have been your best friend, and now you don't go to the club with them no more. Now you don't hang out because you gotta, you in the house booed up, right? It's cuffing season, and now they have nobody and they are lonely. And because of that, they love you so much they want to keep you to themselves. So they'll sabotage it on purpose out of their own selfishness, right? Just getting advice from a support system that does not have the desired results you want. Now, people who don't have them can have good advice, but more often than not, you have to look at the intention behind that person. So they absolutely can be a sabotage, the biggest sabotagers.
All right, I like that. Go ahead, Trev.
I do like the point that Clout made along slash Erica about your ultimate support system should be, your significant other. But unfortunately, when you're talking about a relationship, that can't always be the case. But Precious made an awesome point when she used the word boundaries. So there are certain things that you can get help with, and there's just certain things that you just have to understand that it's not for everyone, right? Because one thing that you realize is that, let's say y'all have some type of a fallout or, a major fight, whatever. You tell your family about it. They will never, ever forget it. Next thing you know, you can't go to family reunions without it being awkward as hell. You can't go around them. You get the dirty looks. And it's forever damaged because they never forget that. They don't, even if you're doing everything else right, that one little fallout that you had that one time, they never want to forget it. So you have to keep people out of it, right? I like what Marcus said when he said what you should do is be careful about who you have in it, right? Because certain people will sabotage it. So I always say this: I don't take advice on finances from broke people. So I don't take relationship advice from people who aren't in a position that I want to be in. That's my personal preference, and I'm sticking to it. If you are in a type of relationship that I admire or aspire to be like, then I'm going to take advice from you. If you are the single guy who's at the club and everything, I don't care about that. Like, that's not what I want to do. You can't help me. You can't help me because you're not where I want to be for any, no matter what I do, right? Whether it be finances, when I learned how to fight, I've learn from someone who knew how to fight. Whatever situation that I'm trying to get into, I try to get it from people who are more experienced in that situation than I am. So I think it's very important for us to understand that. And you have to understand where their interest lies as well. It has to be people who you actually trust and that they have your best interest in mind. Right. And you also have to trust them because certain information, like I said, there's certain things, no matter what, you just don't include no matter what. Right. And it's not necessary. But if you want what you can include is what got you to that point. Right. What started the fight, what started the blow up. And you could be like, no, you know what? How could I avoid this? Or why do you think females respond this way when something happens? That makes sense. So you take advice from as many people as you can. And like I said, you can learn from people who aren't where you want to be, but don't let them teach you anything, if that makes sense to you. But that's what I would do.
All right. Go ahead, Paradise.
Hate to be that person, not really, but I disagree with you all. I do not believe your support system can ruin your relationship. Have you ever talked to one of your friends and told them to leave somebody and they was looking at you like, you right, and then you see them happy-go-lucky? Like, I don't care who you have around you. If you do not want to leave somebody, it ain't nothing bad. Even your mama can tell you to make them leave. They may say whatever the hell they want to say. They can put it right in your face. They can show you that they stole. They can show you that they abused you. They can show you that they cheated. They do everything in the world. Betray you. But can't nobody make you leave nobody. Those people cannot set up or sabotage their relationship. I have seen where siblings have slept with the same person and they be more mad at their sibling than they are the person that was the outside figure. And go forgive and no lie, my cousin stole my other cousin's husband. They married. So it's like, if you want to be with somebody, it ain't nothing nobody can tell you about being with that person. I have seen it. The family reunions get very interesting, even when the family is behind you, mumbling and cackling. They keep their mouth closed when you in their face. They do all the whispering when they behind your back. They say everything bold when you're not around. Your support system is your support system because those are the people that make you feel good about knowing you outside of your relationship. But they cannot sabotage their relationship. If you don't want to leave, your ass ain't going nowhere.
I done left a woman because of her support system. I told her I did not like the girl that she was friends with because the girl, she was wealthy and the other girl just wanted to hang out with her so they could splurge and do all this extra stuff. I told her this girl a bad influence. She ain't want to listen. I left her ass. Like, she ruined that relationship.
But you got sick of it, right? Like, that could have been a catalyst of you leaving. But, you talked to her about it. She wasn't going to leave you. She was going to try to have the best of both worlds. She was going to try to have her support system, and she was going to try to have you. Even we see nowadays, women will say, if my friends was here before my man, I ain't cutting off my friends. He just got to go, this, that, and the third. Perfect example. If you want to be with somebody, you're going to be with them. That may be a catalyst as to why you left them, but they didn't sabotage your relationship. You left her because you didn't want to tolerate that shit.
Yeah, I wasn't tolerating that shit at all. Yeah, she must have thought she was R. Kelly, but that shit, the best of both worlds, ain't work as an album or in that relationship. Her ass got left. I'm fine with that. I ain't about to play. No.
I don't care.
Go ahead, Lego.
Most of the time, and I'm just going to say it, nobody else wants to say it, women's support system versus men's support system. So most of the time, the woman's support system is not a support system. It's their confirmation of what they're already thinking system, right? So your homegirls, your family members, they're not there to support you. They're there to agree with how you feel about whatever. So this is dysfunctional, and to actually call it a support system is what's actually hurting you because sometimes, in my opinion, the word support is dysfunctional when women use it in the wrong context. Support supposed to be somebody that holds you up, that keeps you where you are, not pulls you out of it. Because the thing about it is, when you look at your friends and family, most likely they act just like you because they know you. They know what you like, they know what you don't like, right? And when you start getting upset, say the guy starts holding you accountable for your actions or whatever, right? And then you go to your friends or family and says whatever, right? You're going to storyline it in a way that the guy is the problem. So if you storyline it in a way that the guy is a problem, of course they're going to support you. And just like you self-sabotage relationships, your friends and family are going to do the exact same thing that you do. They're going to help you self-sabotage relationships because in our essence, they ain't got no man either. So they see it as a bonus if you get out of this relationship because now they have more access to you to vent to. Your homegirls love to vent to you about stuff, and you're more receptive to them venting about dumb shit that goes on in their lives when you're single. So I always say the black woman is the black woman's biggest enemy. Black women keep other black women single. So when you look at the word or the context of support system, you got to look at your own life and your own friends and say to yourself, is this a support system, or are these people just simply confirming what I already think about my own self and about men? Because if you think men are trash, they think men are trash. So the second you get with a man, everybody's going to think it's not going to work out because all y'all think men are trash. That is not a support system.
All right. All right. All right. Go ahead, Case.
So Mr. Let Go really kind of set the stage for where I was going next in my
Oh, really?
Yes. I think we really need to talk in terms of healthy support and healthy families, healthy parenting. A lot of times on the panel, we talk from our own experience, which may be in one lane, but we have to realize that others exist out there. There's other people that exist out there. Other cultures literally depend on their family, and their family has been the glue to hold their marriages together, right? Their community and their parents pay for their wedding, they buy their first house, they help with their children, they do everything to make it easier and give the advice that that couple needs to be successful in the beginning of their relationship and their marriage so that they can go forth and have a wonderful family foundation, to have a family that is going to withhold and withstand a storm or any issues, so then they can go on and be the support system for the next generation of young couples and young marriages coming up behind them. My parents, in our 10 years that me and my husband have been together, me and my husband have had some very hard, difficult times. My parents and my husband's parents have never once been the yes man or the talk. It hasn't been the, oh, we talking to the choir type situations. I've always been criticized by my parents and anything that I need to work on and get better at. Now, there's a lot of things that me and my husband do not include our families in, but if something needs to be addressed and we feel like we might need some help, the first people that we're going to go to, that first line of defense, are both sets of our parents, because they've both been married over 40 years apiece. They're both high school sweethearts. They both have kids. They both have lots of experiences with working and careers and life change and losing family members and all kind of things that they've withstood over the test of time. So whether you go to a therapist, a marriage counselor, sometimes you need someone that knows you, that's going to be honest with you and say, You know what? Yeah, oh, I'm thinking about leaving. What the hell are you thinking? That shouldn't be on your mind. What did you do? What was your part in the situation? Y'all need to go seek some professional help before you pull the trigger on go and get a lawyer. Before you pull the trigger, did you look at it from this angle? Have you looked at it from that angle? This is a common problem with marriage. Y'all ain't going through nothing big. Y'all need to go sit down. You need to go talk face to face. I don't need to know all the details of whatever the situation is, but I promise you that if you guys have got through this, and this, that this, and this will be easy. You need to hear that sometimes from somebody that truly loves you, that is truly a support system. I'm not talking about no friends that have their own situations going on and they're going to give you advice from their own lens and their own prism that may not be in line with your goals and what you want for your life. But when I say support system, like Mr. Let Go said, you need to ask, who are these people, right? And like Trev said and Precious said, it has to be people, it has to be only certain things that you're going outside of that relationship or outside of that marriage, because 90 to 95% of it, you got to deal with it with just you and that other person. But you better have some people around you. If you need a freaking life vest, or you need to look left and right like, oh, I'm about to make a big decision, or I'm about to do something stupid, you need somebody that's going to check you and really be like, this is not the way you want to go, and you need to really wise up and think twice.
I think also we don't, because Casey made a very great point. We don't discuss the fact about the shame that comes along with the separation that is already embedded into the family. And a lot of people don't want to face that. And a lot of times we are speaking from extreme points of views. Most people are closely tied to their families. And a lot of times most people, when you happen to get married or you move or you make more money, your circle change a little bit. So it's not always married people around a whole lot of single people just because we have these experiences in the Black community. But most people don't want to have to explain them actually going through the engagement process, going down to the courthouse, going down to getting the whole reception hall and everything, and spending all this money, and then turn around and say, well, I want to go get my name back, or I want to go get my name back. Like, a lot of people don't want to have to explain that, men or women. And another thing we don't never address is how there are some women who actually do have homegirls and, friends or associates that they know that would tell them, girl, don't leave that man, he good. There are women who have men like that around them. And I know we always hear the stigma of women be having men in their business, this, then the third. There are really some women who have friends who would tell them, girl, I wish
I'm
I
one of
would
them.
Same. I know that there are a lot of women who have friends around them where they respect their girlfriend's man. And they're like, you know what? I know he not perfect, but I'm telling you, the bag of shit that I dealt with, it ain't nothing compared to yours. You can stick that out. Women are doing it. I'm one of them. Casey just said she's one of them. I got friends who have ready-made families and they're with the same person, and I don't care how hard it gets. If he don't give up on you, give up on him.
And also, I think it's very important too to have, this just goes into the vetting process. So you need to make sure that you and the person that you are with are aligned in values, how you see the world. Of course, everyone's not going to be twin flames and be the exact same person of their partner, right? Some of us really complement each other in different ways with our significant other. But you need to have a person who really sees relationships and family like you do. And I have to say, my husband, both of us are very like-minded when it comes to the friends we have around us, the family we have around us. Marcus knows he's been around my husband since adolescent years and ages, and they share a lot of history. And one thing about their friend group, which is the same in mine, we have a lot of us that are married, and there's some of us that are single as well. We don't have to have a cookie cutter. We're not all exactly the same. We may not all be exactly the same in our life, but what we do is cheer each other on, and we want the best for each other. And Marcus can speak to that, to their guy friend group. Like I see them really supporting what's right, regardless if it's exactly where they are individually in their own life. They want their brothers to be in a good place because they know what they want and they have those conversations. And the same for me with my childhood friends or sorority friends. Like, I'm going to be real. We're real with each other, and we're not going to condone no foolishness. We're not applauding no foolishness or no selfish behavior when it comes to where we are in our life and our different age groups. And so I think that's important. You have to be aligned with your partner with how you see friendships, family, and the world.
I just want to speak to that real quick. So what I find interesting about that, when I said and like self-reflect, your father-in-law, Dr. Vins, his house is the meetup. All of this starts with a strong male image, right? A strong father figure. Him being there is why, because we be over there 10, 15 deep at the house, right? I told him one day, I'm like, look, I aspire to be the man you are to your family for my family one day. You know what I'm saying? He's self-sacrificing. He fully focused on doing what's necessary for his family. He's a great man as far as I'm concerned. And he instilled that in his sons. But if you look across the friend group, have you noticed we only meet at their house? You know what I'm saying? That's how important a strong father figure is. When we talk about the role of masculinity and how powerful it is, it get diminished because you don't really get to see, unless you have an example of what it looked like, how powerful it is. Like, you could put masculinity, a real man, in the situation and rectify a bloodline and fix all the curses. Like, anything that's going wrong with the right man at the helm of that, all of that stuff get fixed. So when I be talking about how things are a man's fault, I'm coming from a perspective of, with real male leadership, all of this should get fixed. Like, down the line, bam, no more. You know what I'm saying? So it may be some confusion if people have never experienced that before, but it exists and it's real powerful.
I just have a question.
I'm sorry, Precious. I just one little nugget. Based on what you're saying, I literally saw my husband at a young age exhibit that leadership when I was still struggling with some immaturities in our relationship and in our marriage. He was very clear cut on what he wanted for his life and what he wanted for us in our relationship. So that male leadership and having that support system that we're talking about really made a difference in the longevity and how we are where we are right now. Go ahead, Precious. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, when the cookout. That was my question. When's the cookout?
we gotta do a meetup for real in Chicago.
Yeah, just let me know. Don't let my invite get lost in the mail. Okay.
I'm not. We're not.
All right, we're gonna
It's like 15, 6, 5, and it's a lot of real. Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and transition, y'all. If you guys just tuned in, welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk. So make sure we hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, shout out to the sponsor, T Channel, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men, 30% off alone, a free gift. That link is in the description. So make sure you guys feel the tease, as I always say. Shout out to all my green gamers in the chat. I see you. You guys are active. Conversation seems to be flowing pretty respectful. So let's keep that going as well. Let's go ahead and keep it moving. Y'all good? Well-being check. Cool. Anybody need to shout? Anybody getting excited about the convo? Are y'all learning anything? Anybody learning something?
That's a good one tonight.
I learned a lot about Will and Jada. I learned a lot about Will and Jada tonight.
So did I.
We got a couple of super chats came too. AP accountability partner $20 says, for my future ex-wife Paris, the always feminine, bad BB Precious, my boy Trev, and my N-word Marcus. Shout out to the panel and the baddest network on YouTube, the Lapeef Network. I appreciate you, sir. AP accountability partner again, $5 says, oh yeah, no matter what Mr. Let Go say, I disagree. Quit changing they tires and tossing salad. Shout out to Mr. Let Go. Let's go ahead and keep it moving. Let's go ahead and turn it up a little bit. Should you always speak to your man? Should you always speak to your man like a king? Should you always speak to your man like a king? Let me go ahead and play this clip.
Always learn how to talk to the king in you. I don't care how mad I get. And I learned that in therapy, that for me to manifest the man that I wanted in my life, I had to learn how to always speak to him like the man I wanted in my life, even when I'm mad at him.
Teach that shit.
You know what I'm saying? And I had to learn how to speak to the man that I wanted in my life all the time. I needed to speak to him as that man, right? To where when we
even
get
when
into,
he acting like a court jester.
yes,
Okay.
even when we get upset with each other, there are rules. We don't hit below the belt. Like, it's a lot of things that, and a lot of growing that I've done, but we've all got to get to that place.
Yeah. Message.
All right, that's a message right there. I'm just curious to hear what the panel got to say. Should you always speak to your man like a king? I'm gonna go ahead and start with you first, Shonda.
Well, I believe that man should be the leader. The thing is, as taking that male role as a leader, that woman is following that man, so I'm trusting my man to lead me. So of course I'm going to be respectful to him, because yes, he is the king in my home, and because he's the leader. So allow him to lead, that means I'm trusting him. But it just becomes sometimes a man when he could get off track. And if you can kind of look at it like just basically like a train track. So like this woman is following this man, but if he keeps falling off the track for so long, she will eventually as well. So sometimes that's when things kind of get conflicted, I believe, in relationships. But when it comes to that man, if he's leading, of course I'm going to respect him, and as the leader of the household. And yep, I mean, long as he's leading properly, yeah, I'm gonna respect him. And he's doing everything he's supposed to do as the leader, as the head. But
What makes a man a good leader?
I want to say spiritually, as well as just basically, if you're in a family with children, leading the family is in the household, as far as the kids, monitoring, not just financially. So I don't look at it just financially, but that does play a role. But yeah, in every way. So not just like but mainly spiritually, again, the children. But yeah.
Okay, spirituality and the children. Gotcha.
Yeah, the household, just as far as being that head, that leader. And I think that's just like the main thing. And I don't want to just put it all on financial, but yeah.
All right, Nick, I'm coming to you next. Should you always speak to your man like a king? I want you to answer that question too. Like, what makes a man a leader? I'm just because I'm going to ask all the women on the panel, so just be prepared for
What
that.
makes them a leader?
Yep.
Well, I've answered.
I love that question. To answer what makes a man a leader, I'm going to say, well, one, I want to see that God is leading him. That's my first thing. And then, so similar to what Shanda said, but then also his vision. So, I want to see that he has a vision. I want to be able to believe in the vision. Ideally, if he has chosen me, is likely because I do believe in his vision. But just in terms of should one always speak to their man like a king? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say, this is one of the most challenging things for me, is to speak to a man like a king when I, at that very moment, feel like I don't want to, based on whatever circumstances are going on, but to still have the ability to do it. And that is one of the things I had to learn, is how to control my own emotions, so that in times where, now mind you, I'm speaking now about my fiance. So now in terms of some, random guy off the street, or, some guy that I'm dating, it's a toxic relationship, I'm not speaking to that. I'm speaking to somebody who I, already have a major admiration and respect for.
Can I ask why?
I'm sorry?
I just want to ask why you said I'm not going to want to speak to him like a king. Why? Like, because that's the question I have.
Yeah, in that situation, I was speaking to, like, say if there's some turmoil between us. So say we're angry at each other, we're arguing at each other. In that moment, if we're in a big argument, this is one thing I had to work on. I would be, my masculine would rise up. And what I'm learning is that got me nowhere. So so to whatever I said, I was speaking specifically to if there's turmoil. I'm not, I'm in that moment, I may not want to, but my biggest challenge is even when I don't want to speak to him that way, still finding it within me to learn how to do that, because I noticed that I've gotten a lot more accomplished when I'm able to always speak to him like a king. But I'm not gonna go ahead.
Just another caveat to that. Almost repetitive, but I'm not going to ask you the same question again. But why would you want to? Like, and this is for the women. What makes you want to speak to a man out of term if he isn't leading correctly, or for whatever he did this? What makes you? What is the impulse that makes you want to say something out of line? What is that inside of you that makes you the impulse? What is that?
Real quick. I'm just gonna
go ahead.
Okay. Just to answer you, for me, it is my emotions, and I've had to learn to control my emotions. That is it. That's what it is for me. It is the emotional, whatever is the feminine energy. I don't know what, but as a woman, I've had to learn how to control, because as they say, we all have, even though I'm a woman and I'm feminine, I still have, they say it's a spectrum, right? So there's, you can kind of, I'm not going to get into all that stuff, but bottom line is, you can exhibit a little masculine energy even though you're feminine. So I've had to dial back that masculine energy, particularly as a modern woman, as a woman who, is out here in the world and figuring out how to navigate it. And you go home and you have to learn how to shut that off. Sometimes I have not been able to do that.
So do you talk to people as your example when you're out versus in? You talk to people out of line when you're out the house, or just a question, because I don't really understand it.
If the person
like that,
if I feel disrespected by somebody out of the house, then yes, I would talk to them like that as well.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay. All right. I was just wondering, because my whole thing is,
why is it crazy? I don't understand. Why is it crazy?
Why would you speak to anybody out of line ever, just period, as a woman? Like, you're gonna get slapped in the mouth outside versus in, like,
I'm only speaking to in situations where I feel disrespected. I am going to stand up for myself. I'm not gonna let anybody.
So is it standing up for yourself, or is it an impulse to speak out of line? Because there's a difference. So if somebody grabs you, you have the right to say, "Get off me." But if nobody's touching you and somebody says, "Look, you little nabbyhead bitch," or whatever, you'll have an impulse to go love and hip hop on her.
Well, I don't go love and hip hop, but there will be some words exchanged. But is that not human nature?
No, it's not.
I feel like Mr. Lego, you kind of gaslight.
Hold on, Paris getting there. Go ahead.
I feel like you kind of gaslight a little bit, because the way that I'm gonna explain it, right? The way that I was raised, right? Like, I had my dad in the house with me, and I grew up around all boys. Like, technically, biologically, I have 2 brothers, but technically, I have 4. And so my oldest brother, my dad raised, is 9 years older than me. I was always around men. I was always, firm, and I don't play disrespect. So rough house and stuff like that, like, I've always been around boys. I don't tolerate people talking to me crazy, because I give respect first. And again, the way that I was raised, if somebody do something to you, you do something back. If somebody put their hands on you, you hit them back. So to insinuate that as a woman, my womanhood is the reason why I shouldn't say certain things, to me, that's a little bit like downplaying human nature, because men understand violence. men control, and they know that they don't talk to each other a certain type of way because violence can ensue. And when you
So
have a
women
woman
don't?
like, hold on, wait a minute. When you have a woman like me who was raised around primarily men in my household, not me going outside, in my household, then I too got that same understanding, which is why I carried myself with a certain level of decorum. This ain't something that came from my mom. This is something that came from my dad and being around my brothers, because of course I am the only girl. I played a lot of sports. So I wasn't for no jaw jacket. You talk to me the wrong type of way, it can go somewhere. And I'm okay with that.
So that's not human nature. That is human nurture. Okay. And you just explained what your human nurture actually is. All right. Human nature is to not jaw jack. Like there's no reason to do anything like that, especially as a woman. Men, you just explained it. Men don't even do it. So that means it's not human nature. If it's anything, it's woman nature. And that's the reason why I asked, hold on. That's why I asked her that, because men don't do that. If a man speaks to me out of line in person, we online, But if that's the last thing I'm gonna do, because I could lose my life. So men don't talk like that. So
Men
only
do.
women talk like that. So if it's not, if men don't talk like that to each other
They
out in the world,
do.
okay,
The
men
guys I
don't
know
talk
out here
like
in
that
DC
out
talk.
in the world because there's a simple understanding that they can lose their life. Okay, I'm saying just overall, if you see it over there, some stupid people, but men don't necessarily start jaw jacking to each other at a American Deli or whatever, because somebody can actually pull out a gun and die. And usually when it is jaw jacking, somebody does die. So that's not my point though, Paris. I'm asking women, because now we're talking about men. I'm asking women, why is there an impulse to go off on another person that says something to you that didn't touch you? And Nika, that's your name, right? Nika?
Nika.
Say it again.
Nika.
Okay, Nika.
You know the answer, let go. You always say it. Women and children, right?
Okay. Nneka is about to be a wife, right? So I'm specifically asking her this because she's about to get married, right? She don't found the husband like Casey has, right? So Casey knows, because I'm sure Casey is thinking the same thing. Why the hell would you do that? Because the thing about it is, one, you can't be outside going off on nobody when you got a husband, because now he has to protect you and you're going to put him in harm's way. Then at the same time, if you have the impulse to at some point act like that in your house, you're going to put your ass out. Now you're going to be looking crazy. So at the end of the day, there is no human reason for a woman to jaw jack anybody inside the household or outside the household. You got to understand, as a woman, y'all don't own or run anything on the planet. And I'm not saying anything bad about y'all. You depend, hold on. Women depend on men. So the more you understand that you can't, because you don't have a leg to stand on, just as women, period, to turn around and just go off on people. Because if you get slapped in the mouth, a man has to now come in and take up for you, and now he can die or get shot or go to jail. So it's just an importance to find out why you have that impulse, because if you have that impulse, it's going to come out probably in year 2 of your marriage, and he's going to be like, who the fuck you talking to?
But I think we're kind of talking in extremes though, because it's
I
not so much that
I want to make sure that we kind of keep it on topic, y'all. Should you always speak to your man like a king? So let's make sure we don't derail too far.
That's on topic though. Really?
I know. Make sure.
There are plenty of videos where 2 men are interacting with each other, and one man said something the other man didn't like. Both of them looked like they were normal, and one of them fired off and knocked another man out. We could pull videos on YouTube. We could pull videos on Instagram.
Let's stay on the topic. A woman talking to her man like a king. Why would she stop doing that? It's the topic, not men.
I'm on the topic, right? It's not about men. you're correct. But to insinuate that already emotional creatures, right, should not behave a certain type of way that is irrational is kind of like, a little bit disingenuous.
You saying being irrational?
It don't even make sense what you're saying.
You're saying so what you're saying is an irrational human being becoming rational is irrational to think? Is that what you're saying?
I can't hear anything. Could y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you, but no, that's not what I
Okay,
said.
Paris, hold on. I want to ask you that
Bro,
question.
you always
again.
say women and children. It's like you're debating with yourself about
Answer the
your
question,
own
Paris.
stance.
Are you saying that an irrational human being being irrational is being irrational to ask?
No, that's not what I said. I don't know why you finding words that make sense to fix your narrative. I don't know why you're doing
I'm
that.
just going by what you just said. Use the word rational and irrational.
No, I said to ask people who are emotional.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
To have some form of self-control at all times is irrational. That's what I said. So the idea that you're trying to fixate this narrative, the idea that you're saying women should be subservient, we should be quiet, we should always never have no type of emotional disruption, that is asinine. Every month, for 7 days, something literally goes off in our brain that we cannot even control. And you're saying somebody should say something to a woman that hurts her feelings, and the only response should be her acting like a nun and not responding at all, or even down to the fact
We're
that
talking about
saying,
a man and a woman mainly, though.
No, I'm not talking about a man and a woman. I'm talking about a woman as an individual. Because let me tell you something. Y'all saying I'm just one of these women. Like, I'm just one of these people because of how I was raised. I'm one of these people where I don't care, man or woman. If you disrespect
I don't care.
me, something can happen to you.
That's
I'm
sad.
that person.
Well, and real quick though, I just wanted to add.
Hold on, go ahead, nigga.
We're speaking
Paradise, like it might be a body that might show up if you do.
That's disgusting, though, Paris.
We're speaking in extremes. Mr. Lego,
Hold on, Nika. Let me hear from Nika.
Mr. Lego, what if it's as simple as, because you're assuming that I'm or the person is irate and acting crazy.
Yeah, we don't have context. I agree.
You could check someone and be calm, right? Like, you don't have to always be acting all crazy. You could still speak your piece without cursing. I actually don't curse.
What does speaking your piece help you do outside in the world other than get your ass whooped?
I don't think so. And to go back to what you were saying about, I know this is not about man to man, but I see it all the time when men play basketball and stuff like that. They get into it. You know,
the reason why I'm bringing this up,
men are emotional too. It's not just women. Men are
that's
also very
that's different, though. That's different.
See, y'all are going away from the actual topic, and y'all are trying to gaslight me now. Ain't nobody said nothing about no man. Y'all brought up men. The question is, should you always speak to a man like a king, right? And then you said at some particular point, because of what I do out in the world, I may feel like I want to speak out of term, right? So I asked, why would you feel compelled to speak to somebody outside in the world out of line? And you said, depends on whatever. So what I'm saying is we are what we repeatedly do. So if you, just as an individual, know that that's an issue that has to be addressed before you get married, just in my opinion, because you are what you repeatedly do. If you still have that impulse inside of you, and if you out there going off on whoever at a Waffle House or wherever, I don't care, at work or whatever, right? That at some point is going to go home, and he's going to put your ass out, and now you're going to be looking crazy. That's all I'm saying.
Real quick, what solutions do you propose, Mr. Lego? What solutions? I mean, because the solution can't just be to be quiet.
Okay, I got a solution. I coach women. I have one particular thing that I tell the women that I coach is to tell me more technique, right? So say say Casey unmutes and says, Mr. Let Go, you're a narcissist, right? Instead of being like, listen here, you I'm be like, oh, well, tell me more. Why you think that? Right? So now that is a perfect example of how to de-escalate a situation, because the reason why Casey or anybody else would say something like that is because most likely they want to feel heard. They felt disrespected. You jumped them in a line or whatever. They're like, you little bitch, whatever. They just want to be heard. So to go back and forth with them isn't what they actually want. So to turn around and say, oh, so wait, what's wrong? And they'll tell you, you jumped them in line. You stepped on my foot. You look at me like I'm crazy. And then you say, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think about it. But turn around and say, who you fucking talking to? Now you have a problem. So I just wanted to give you a solution and not to go off topic because you asked for it.
All right, y'all, hold on. We got to get other people involved. So let's, because they're sitting around patiently waiting. If you look at their faces, you can see that they're ready to go ahead and get back on topic. So let's make sure we go ahead and get this round. Go ahead, Clout.
All right. I think what Let Go was referring to just now was like, or what Nika, I think it is, was referring to is like that feeling of rebellion. And I think to explain that to Let Go, I think women get that when there's a lack of respect or when there's doubt, right? So if you're in a leadership position and you're not doing something clear and she's doubting it, now I think a lot of times women have that impulse to just interject and it comes off as disrespectful. But I think the response really depends on how the man reacts to it. So like right now we're talking about whether women should speak to a man as a king or not. And I would say conversely, what's really more important is what you accept. So what kind of talk do you as a man accept? Because how she talks to you doesn't matter, because she can't talk to you a way that you don't accept. Like me personally, if I'm dating someone, if they say something disrespectful to me, I'm checking it immediately. If it happens again, I'm cutting them off. Like I have no problem cutting you off if you don't talk to me in a way that I like to be talked to. So all of the women in my life that I know, none of them talk to me disrespectfully. I'm not going to say they're talking to me like a king per se, but when you're not being talked to disrespectful, that's how you're going to feel. You're going to feel like a king because you're being spoken to the way that you want to be spoken to with respect. So I think it's just a matter of like, yes, it's important for women to speak to you with a certain level of respect, absolutely. But I think that's naturally going to happen if you don't tolerate anything less. Like you're not going to talk to me crazy. You're going to talk to me nice. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, if not, I will hang up the phone on you and you'll be talking to yourself regardless.
What?
So there's only one way to talk to me, and that's the right way. So
At the right way. Go ahead, Casey.
The answer is yes. I've been guilty at a younger age, even though I felt just in being mad in a situation of even like nitpicking about sometimes even things don't even need to be discussed. Like if there's a disagreement and you might even feel like, man, I felt disregarded in that situation. Everything doesn't need to be discussed and ran through and over with a rake. It doesn't. Sometimes you need to step back and see how the situation got to that point before you feel that it needs to be a discussion to even get to the point where you feeling like you should be talking to your man as a king. In a relationship, some things just become trivial, right? And when women just start going off, whether it's in a respectable manner or not, it's falling on deaf ears because everything doesn't need to be addressed. Now, if it's something that needs to be addressed, there's a way you need to talk to your man, your husband, your boyfriend. There is a way and an etiquette and a protocol that should be self-regulated. And even if you feel that he's in the wrong, and I had to learn this from my mother, and it also came with wisdom and age in my relationship. Like that silence, when you grow up and you really have some wisdom about you in your womanhood and your relationship, that silence will get you together, right? Because you go into your head and you're like, wait, how did we get here? Right? Like, what part did I play in this? And okay, I shouldn't have said that. It wasn't the right time for me to say it. It was the wrong place for me to say it. Like, we just finished date night and I didn't like the way he said something at the table. So as soon as we get in the car, as a woman, you're going to bring it up. And you just had a wonderful night. Let it go. As women, we feel everything needs to be called to the carpet. It needs to be addressed. And that it's really like it weighs a relationship down. And men be like, what did I do now? Like what? Like what's going on?
Casey, why you think we're not like that?
I think it's in our. I think we're very detail oriented, and a lot of things like we want everything to be perfect. Like, you know, we are always like in the choreography of a relationship. You know, all the steps. Like, we're always thinking about how we want everything to go, and we're planners and we're organizers, and we think and we fantasize about how we think things should be and how they should go. That is that control that has to be let go, right? That is a strength. That is a strength that we have, but it has to be regulated and put to use in the right way in your relationship and in your marriage, and not put in the way where you become to have friction with your husband or your partner, where they're trying to lead, but you like, oh, I think it's a better way to do it. Oh, I think, well, why do you think that? It's just, there's always this challenging nature. As a woman, it is great to be a planner and an organizer. Those things need to be put to use towards your family, and not to challenge your husband, and not to challenge every move that you guys are trying to make, and also not to be challenging every single day. That friction, no one wants that every single day. So I think if you really realize, like, just with gaining wisdom, that women's silence is our biggest prized possession.
Thank you.
It is our biggest prized possession. And when it comes to being I'm a de-escalator, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm married to a Black man. I'm not getting into no argument with my husband out in public. I'm not gassing no argument with anybody when it comes to him. Marcus know my husband. I'm not doing nothing. I am self-regulating. I'm the de-escalator. I'm gonna keep my husband calm. I'm gonna dead a situation. I'm going to keep it calm, because my husband is a protector, and his head is always on a swivel. And I would never be that mouth. Oh, can you believe that? That doesn't do anything for any man, especially not a Black man in America. So you have to be that helpmate in every sense of the word, every sense of the term. You have to be that self-regulator. But that silence,
it's beautiful.
Most men who are loving and passionate, if they did something wrong, I truly feel God convicts them in their wrongdoing, right? So even if you felt that I was right, they were wrong, you may even be right in your feelings and your emotion of how you may have felt, disrespected or whatever. But that silence, you don't need to go crying. That silence and walking away from the situation and go and take care of your business as a woman and as a wife, that man, that husband will come back around and say, you know what, babe?
You were right.
I thought about that situation, and you know what? I could have handled that a little bit differently. And you know what you do? You know what you do in that situation? Babe, I really appreciate that. Like, can we talk about it? Now is the good time to talk about it. Not starting an argument in the car at a situation. But now is that good time when y'all both have a listening ear. The situation is calmed down. Now you can express your feelings in that king talk. Like, this is how I feel about this. I really expected this to go this way. I know you probably didn't mean it that way. And I also see that I, as your wife or as your woman, could have played this a little bit differently. I didn't like where it went, but let's be different about, if that situation arises again, let's be different and let's be better about how we deal with it. And then you move on. Having peace in your house is everything. Not having to look for a vacation, or the people that sit in the car when they drive home from work because they don't want to go in the house because there ain't no peace. You don't like the other person you live with. That is cultivated, y'all. That takes consideration. That takes love. That takes patience. And I may be on my high my patience tank may be 100% on that day, and my husband's may be 10. As a wife, I gotta realize it may be I could probably maybe work took that other 90%. I need to not drain the other 10% out of him and escalate the situation. Do y'all understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When you in your home, peace, love, and patience should be the number one goal. And I don't care how you get to that solution, you need to fill in the gaps however you need to fill them in. Because you have a goal at hand. You have a goal at hand. And I'll end it there.
Somebody had a question for you real quick. If you can bring
go ahead.
Practitioner 199 says, if he's very disrespectful, how do you respond, Kay?
That's what I just said. Like, where's we all have different lines of what very disrespectful is, right? When you're with somebody and you love them, like and it's a healthy relationship. Now, we're not talking about unhealthy relationships. We're not talking about people that you shouldn't be with to begin with. But we are still human at the end of the day, right? You're human. As women, we need to take accountability for what we do wrong, and our men are human as well. Just because they're in a leadership role doesn't mean that they're freaking robots and that they can't mess up. But just because they're not robots and they're not perfect does not mean that their respect level should falter or should go down based on the day. Oh, you're buying me gifts today. It's gonna raise. Oh, you don't want to talk to me? You don't want to be lovey-dovey with me? Oh, it's gonna go down until you act right. That's out of order. It's out of order.
All facts.
Go ahead, Paris.
And it's only one thing that I challenged Casey on, because everything else that she said was like spot on. And I know we keep speaking from a husband, wife point of view, but I got a man. I got a lovely boyfriend, lovely black man. I don't care how mad I get. I watch what I say to him. Even when your relationship is unhealthy, even if this is somebody you feel like you should not be with, watch what you say to that man, because
what are you challenging me on? What do you disagree with me on? That's what I'm saying.
You that part, the part where you said I'm not talking about somebody that you shouldn't be with. I'm saying,
you saying regardless.
Oh no, I feel the same way. What I'm saying is, if you feel that somebody is disrespecting you to the point that you feel you gotta fight and argue and literally go to the end of the earth, you should walk away. It shouldn't be an up and down of I'm gonna respect you based on how you are self-regulated. In a relationship, you only control yourself. You only can walk away with your behavior. Yes, your behavior, nor your accountability.
So even with that, it's like people can hurt your feelings. I just do not believe you should allow anybody to have that much control over you. Even in a relationship, you keep your identity. You keep who you are at your core. And that is also strength. Because a lot of times
I agree.
Women and I can only speak for women. We get into these relationships with these men and we overextend ourselves and we become bitter and resentful in the process, and everybody got to pay for it and your mouth get reckless. But if you truly are a woman who is in your own core, a nurturer, a soft person, you gentle, you want to give love in the most expressive way, you don't let no man bring you out of it. It's never worth it to me. It's never worth it for a man to see me so broken and bitter because I gave him that much power. I've done it before. I'm speaking from experience that I won't ever do it again. I watch how I maneuver in my current relationship because of the fact, not only do I have a lot of respect for him, but it's also giving back. However, I'm very cautious of things that may be going on with him as to why he responded that way. I can't think for just me no more.
But this is the thing, like, so when it comes to children, and I completely agree with you, Paris, like, women pick and choose when they're going to be this dutiful person, right? When it comes to being a mother, I don't know why women hold wifehood and motherhood at like two different scales when it comes to duty, right? If your child is acting up as a 5-year-old, or let's go down to a 3-year-old, that child is a human being with emotions and feelings and everything else. If that child is pissing you off and acting a fool, if you are a woman of stature and respect and duty, and you are a good mother, you're not gonna not feed your 3-year-old because they pissed you off. You're not gonna not wash their clothes, and you're not gonna not put them into a warm bed. You're not gonna make them sleep on the floor or deny them of your love as a mother because they pissed you off or they make you mad or they're disgusting, right? Like everyone, kids have all different type of moods and will do whatever. If your 15-year-old, your daughter's going to prom and you promised her hair and makeup and nails and the dress she want, because y'all get into an argument or she acting up, like, and y'all get into a little tiff as mommy and daughter, you're not gonna shut down her whole prom experience as her mother because she pissed you off. If you're a good mother, right? You're not gonna do that. So the same should be with holding that duty when it comes to wifehood. You have a role to play in your home. That role does not shut off. It's the same as it's the exact same as motherhood. You have a role to play in your children's life, and you have a role to play in your husband's life, just like you have, or your man's life. It doesn't have to be your husband, just as you have a role to play at your job. So you can't take your hat off at your job or your career and be, oh, I don't want to be a nurse today. You know what? I'm gonna be a tech. I'm gonna be an X-ray tech. I'm gonna do something else. You know you can't take that hat off. You went to school. You didn't work. You didn't grind it. You are who you say you are. So the same should be in your household. Just because you're having a bad day or it's hard times, you have to deal with that situation based on what your duty is in that role. You got to fight through it. You got to grow up. And a lot of times it comes with not being selfish, right? And also accountability and what part you play in the dysfunction or the issue.
And this is the reason why
this is a great conversation. We gotta get the other people in there, and then we can circle back around and finalize it. Go ahead, Trev. Let me get Trev in there. Then we go to Marcus. Hey, Precious, did you go? Okay, yeah, we got Precious, Trev, and Marcus. Let's make sure we get them.
Shonda didn't go either.
Well, then, Shonda?
If it comes back around, I want to hit on a little bit more of that.
Okay. All right, we go to Trev, Precious, then Marcus. Then can flip back around to Sean.
Yeah. Earlier, Nika definitely mentioned a word that makes a lot of sense, and it's respect. I would also add another word, value. Now, that's what it all boils down to. A woman who talks to you like you're not a king, doesn't respect you, and doesn't value you. That's just period, right? And a lot of times we give women grace because we say, oh, well, you know, she might be going through something, or she's, hormonal or whatever, especially during the week. But you know what? When she has to go to work, if she drops a client, drops a customer, doesn't come to work the way she should, or something else is wrong, she can't talk to people in the same manner that she would talk to that king. It's unacceptable under any circumstances. There's no point where she wouldn't be held accountable for it. So why would we give her any grace when it comes to a relationship? It's no different. She's able to manage her emotions, control her hormones. Everything's in check when she's in a professional world. But she's allowed to do this in a relationship, and we're supposed to understand every part of that. I don't understand that part. Because you know how to control it. I know a lot of women who are professional, right? They'll go home and tear it up. They go to work, they put their face on. You know why? Because they value that job. They value that position. They love that money, right? They love that position. They respect that position. They respect their boss's authority. But they don't care when it comes down to their mans. And that's the problem I have with this. So, yeah, it's inexcusable, and I'll land it there.
So I believe you should always talk to your man like a king. I always say on my platform that women, the first thing that we have to get under control is our mouths. I always say that because it's true. We are emotional. That was said on the panel, right? We're emotional. And so is it right to tell someone who's emotional not to be emotional? I don't know if that's a correct statement, but if you know that you are emotional, then you should be in control of your emotions. That's something that we as women have to get under control, and it's no one else's responsibility but ours. And that starts at home. So, I didn't see my mother disrespecting my father. I didn't see my mother raising her voice at my father. I saw my mother respecting his decisions even when she didn't like it. And that just comes from the biblical background that I come from. If you can't speak to your man like a king, you need to go to the king. You need to go to God. You're not going to your friends. You're not going to, your other single girls that don't have the same predicament as you. You're going, like Casey said, in silence. My parents always say, you don't know what to do, be still. Don't say nothing, don't do nothing. Go to God, go pray. Go find your little corner where you can meditate on what's going on, where you can close your mouth, where you can kind of ponder on what's going on. We have to watch our mouths. We have to watch how we speak to men. It's called respect, like Trev was saying. Men count love as respect. That's how they are loved. Women want to give gifts. Women want to have sex. Women want to, do all the things except for, be quiet or apologize or say, you know what, I was wrong for that. I shouldn't have came at you like that. I was wrong. We don't want to catch ourselves. Where we get that spirit of trying to come back, or that rebellious spirit, to me, it goes back to the garden. Eve was the devil don't like family, right? So if you can't speak to your man like a king, that means there is doubt. There is something trying to pierce into your garden to tell you that that's not what you're supposed to be doing, when you know that's what you're supposed to be doing. And we as women know that that's what we're supposed to be doing, and then get mad when the man leave, or get mad when the man don't want to talk or don't want to be bothered. It's because we know that we're supposed to have our emotions under control. We know that we're not supposed to be talking to him crazy. We know that. We know this as women. We know we're not supposed to be doing it to anyone, but yet we want to insert our 2 cents. Yet we want to have the comeback. Yet we want to have the last word, thinking that that's going to solve, or that's going to put him in his place. When you go to counseling, they always tell you, don't hit below the belt. Don't fight unfair. These are all things that we as women have to get underneath the control. And if that means that you have to go seek help, if that means you have to go seek wise counsel from people who are there, who have gone through it, are knee deep in their marriages, who have gone through struggles, especially women. We don't like to go to other women because we feel like, oh, well, what she know, or you have this complex, or you don't want to ask for help. And that's exactly what they're there for. People like Casey, who have been married, that say, "Hey, look, we have strong figures in the family. I've had examples to show me." And then you go through your own situations where it's like, I see what Auntie was saying, or I see what my mom was saying, or you replicate that. Those who grow up in homes that are hostile usually replicate that in their relationships. I didn't grow up in hostility. I grew up in peace. Okay? So if you want peace, that's what you're going to display, and that's what that you have to work on as well. So women have to be honest with themselves to say, if I'm not speaking to him like a king, how am I speaking to him? And I have to reevaluate how I'm speaking to him. So I think it's a lot of self-reflection and a lot of gathering yourself. And I forget who said it, but you shouldn't be married if you don't know how to watch your mouth.
I
You
said it.
you shouldn't be married if you don't know how to watch your mouth, because we are called to help our men. So if the way that you speak to him is not helping him, then it's hindering him.
All right, go ahead, Marcus.
Let's see. Y'all was cooking. Like everything y'all said was so perfect. It's kind of hard to add to it. But what they say, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and it can be used as a weapon to harm, destroy, or to build and heal. You can build and heal a relationship. You can destroy it. It's dangerous. it's real danger in what you say. I'm thinking when listening to Casey talk, I'm just thinking like if I told you me and Nani was having a fight and yelling at each other, that just sound crazy, don't it? Like we don't argue and none of that stuff because like I
Peace.
said before, yeah, like it don't even sound realistic, right? Because one, I'm measured in my words. Like I seen a lot of people get killed behind the way they speak, or killed behind the incident that occurred due to how they were speaking with one another. Um, so I understand the severity of how far words can take something. It's not just words. It's not just you yelling at because and oftentimes in real life, those things have consequences and actions. And one of the things your the power of women, right? Because women are extremely powerful. You got a 200-pound man that's willing to run through a wall behind you. Part of your power is protecting him and making sure you don't put him in a situation where he has to do that for you. He has to do that for his family. You have the power to prevent things and to de-escalate stuff. So the bare minimum should be making sure you have guardrails up and you do not engage in disrespect of the man that you're supposed to love. Because if you actually do, like Trev was saying, you do not love him. That's not love. That you pity him or he's good enough for right now. Whatever that is, that's not how men experience love. And you're doing yourself a disservice, a huge disservice. I'm kind of lost words because I literally see people living and dying by the power of the tongue. And I could just go example by example I dropped one in the back chat, example by example of actual life and death due to so one of the reasons I don't argue with women is because I can't escalate violence with them, right? If your woman was saying something to me, I would address you as the man. It is imperative that y'all don't put these men in these situations where they get laced up because of something you saying. You want to get the last word in, it's never worth it. It's never worth it. Because that last word will cost you your brother, your husband, your father, your son, and their future. You got to talk to these men like kings and make sure you mind everything you saying. Because it can get real. And it's hindsight 2020, but that cell, you'll be in there forever or the grave. That shit
Jay,
get
I
real.
want to go out to
Okay, Marcus. All right, go ahead and let go. We're gonna transition not to let go.
Shonda, you said you had something?
Oh yeah, Shonda did say she had some. My apologies.
Well, I kind of just want to speak on what I believe as far as most women, because Casey, with your marriage, it sounds like you trust your husband, you trust him to lead. So I believe respect, y'all did mention respect, and that's the biggest thing because most women do tend to lose respect for their man, for their spouse, if he's not leading properly. Say for instance, you have this man that's just want to lay around, not do anything, not work, just he started off a certain way but then fell off that track and just didn't want to have that urge to lead anymore, or she just lost that respect. And I agree, it's there's a certain way to talk to that man, or not just to go off. But there are a lot of women do tend to lose respect for different reasons, rather he stepped out so many times or whatever the situation. But yeah, and so with losing respect, it's just not being able to trust that man anymore to lead. So that's when that woman kind of goes off and basically go off track, something similar to what I said, what I started with in the beginning.
So
I think
what? Oh, go ahead, Precious.
I was gonna say that because what you're saying, Shonda, I think may happen in relationships where women lose respect for a man. But as a woman, how are you handling that when you lose respect for a man? Because I think most women think that they could just go off and just do and say and act a fool when they lose respect for a man, and that's not how you should act either.
Which is
So how do you
crazy.
think you should go about
I,
when you actually lose respect for a
but
man?
I want to speak for most women, but I agree that most women as women, we should respond and respect anyone, especially more so of our spouse or the man of the household. But if you're looking at the man to provide and be that leader, to be that king, you're looking at him a certain way. So you're going to in order to give that respect. But at the end of the day, I don't feel
There's a
anybody
lot of butts in there.
anybody
So like, you
if
should.
Hold on, let go. I want her to finish. You say you don't feel what,
I
Shonda?
don't one should be spoken to disrespectfully. But when it comes to most women that may be and have had those situations, because everyone isn't in those households or marriages where their man and they trust them and they've been leading the household. I'm trying to speak on.
But why are you there?
I'm sorry.
Why are you there if
No,
you're not in a household like that?
Because I am a woman. You get what I'm saying? So it's just I'm speaking.
Well, what I'm saying, my question is, if a woman is not in an environment or a household that is conducive to her emotional, financial, or whatever health, because you made an example is the guy was doing great and now he fell off and he's just laying around not doing nothing. Why the hell would you start yelling at the man? Why wouldn't you just start making decisions on saying, okay, let's see how we can just get out of this and just separate? Why is it? Because you said "but" 3 times. You said we should be able to. You said I speak for all women, or something about most women. Most women. You said most women. You said most women, and then you said, we should be able to talk to a man properly. And then you said "but," and then you said "but" again. So is it something like it's conditional?
No, what I'm trying to say is, okay, you kind of throwing me off, but no, it's just more so of if you're in that household and that he's not leading properly, again, that man, a lot of like I'm speaking for most women that, like what you just said, if some people just get settled in that marriage or because of the children or the finances or whatever is holding them together. You get what I'm saying? So it's more so of they may have lost respect for that man. However, so
So the question is, what do you do when you lose respect for that man? Do you what
I do? You're asking me personally.
You said most women. What do most women do in that situation?
I want to speak for most women that's watching. I don't want to just talk
what's the mode of operation.
But now when it comes to me, I have been in a situation where I have lost respect for, my ex, the guy that I was with.
And what happened?
I was in that situation. I didn't follow. I was no longer following him. So it was more so of whatever. And it kind of tends to make you think back to the Will Smith and Jada Pinkett situation as well. Go ahead, Paris.
So I didn't get a chance to go, but I just want to say this because I think this will be helpful to everybody. What do women feel like, or why do women feel like they can change their tone with a man that they're with ever? Ever, right? If you don't think, say me and you together, Shonda, and for whatever reason, I don't fell off, I can't find no job or whatever, right? If you think I'm not leading you properly, that's a conversation you have to have with yourself, not with me. Because now you have to look at your own life and say, okay, this man ain't leading me properly, not respecting me properly, not protecting me properly. I may have to make a decision and get the hell up out of here. And you get the hell up out of here. Because the thing about it is, regardless of how you feel about me, the day you fix your mouth and get disrespectful, I'm going to make the decision for you and your ass going to be out. And you can be happy you're out because I ain't got no job, right? But at the end of the day, you as a woman have to make those decisions for yourself. Now, I'm not saying don't have the conversation with me. but you have the conversation with me with a proper tone every single time. I don't give a damn. You was just in a car accident. You just got your leg got ran over. You gonna come in the house and you gonna respect me because I didn't run over your leg
or speak, but actions speak different. You get what I'm saying? When it comes to respect wise, it doesn't have to.
Well, we talking about speaking.
Always have to be words.
Yeah, we talking about speaking though. That's the topic. So my thing is, and like I said, this is helpful to any woman watching. If you ever speak to your man out of line, you gonna be out on your ass. It doesn't help you at all. Just like Casey said, I don't give a damn if you got ran over by a car. You be quiet because he didn't run over you with the damn car. Somebody else did, right? He's here to help you because. And then another thing, what Nikki said a while ago, if you are out of line with somebody outside of the house, you are going to be out on your ass. Because if me and you was together and I found out that you went off on somebody up at the store and y'all about to get into it, you out on your ass. Because now, one, you're embarrassing me because my woman is representative of me when you go out in the world. And two, you're going to get me locked up. Because if you have a tendency to talk shit to somebody at Walgreens or wherever or at work, you're going to either lose your job or I'm going to have to take up for you because you don't got me in some mess. You out. I'm not dealing with you. So as a woman, it makes 0 sense for you to get out of line with anybody, not even with your dog.
I agree.
What you do over here, you're going to sooner or later do it over here. So if you yelling at your kid, you yelling at your dog, yelling at anybody, you're going to end up yelling at me and you're going to be out on your ass looking crazy. Period.
All right, we're going to let Shonda respond and then Paradise and Cloud, and we're going to close this one out. You want to say something, Shonda?
I just want to get at the big point of being respect. I know we're talking about verbally and how to speak with people or a king respectfully, but I just want the biggest thing being respect. It can also be on actions, but I know the main point was speaking.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Go ahead, Paradise, and then we go to Cloud and close it out.
I feel like the way that we're talking about some unruly woman who don't have no self-control at all. That's what I'm hearing. Like, I don't behave that way. If I'm out in public, I'm giving general respect to people. I'm nice to elders. I'm yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. That's the way that I was raised. I have Southern hospitality. Excuse me?
Well, they say something to you, it's on, right?
No, it doesn't always go that way because I'm an adult, right? So as an adult, you know that you can't always just react irrationally in the moment, even if you want to, right? But it can happen. And I think that's where I'm getting lost in why women should, what women should do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because I don't want to have to call my man. I don't want to have to call my god brother. I don't want to have to call my cousin. I just don't want to have to do that. Like I said, I'm from the country. I grew up very much so different than the way that you are presenting this. So for the way that I would even maneuver was always with respect first to the general public. But the way that you are talking makes it seem as if that in the household there's no self-control and outside there's no self-control, which is why I'm having a hard time following. And
at some point there's no self-control.
Listen, I didn't interrupt you, Mr. Lego. I'm just letting you know where I stand with what you're saying. And I don't agree with what you're saying. And there's no way that you can keep mansplaining this to make me agree because it sounds like an extreme to me. So for me specifically, I would have to say that when you guys are saying, oh, if that man is not leading you, instead of getting disrespectful, just leave. I can honestly say most times when women quit talking to y'all, that's what they're getting ready to do. Most times when women are fed up with y'all, they're not saying anything. They're not responding. They're not giving a damn about whatever you are saying in the household at all. It's very much so quiet and cold. And even everything stops. So even the explanation of, well, if you feel this way, then why don't you leave him? Or you need to have a conversation with yourself about him leading you. That is exactly what is happening. So it's kind of a moot point in order to keep telling women, oh, well, if he not doing what you need him to do, then you should just leave his ass, because at any other time, you guys are championing for us to take any other type of disrespect. You're championing for us to keep the household and the family together. You're saying stay there, stick it out through whatever, whenever, however, whoever. But now you're saying, oh, if his leadership don't align with what you think it should look like, then instead of you even responding to anything, you need to pack up and leave. Well, I can tell you by the numbers that we weaponize on this platform every Wednesday, every Sunday, every Tuesday, or whenever Lapeef is running. We know women are leaving, and we know women get tired, and we know women constantly say, when I'm done talking, I will leave. There won't be a conversation.
All right. I wanted to give a little pushback to what Mr. Let Go was saying, because I noticed that he was saying that we have to, like we were talking to the women as far as they need to control their tone and control how they talk, right? But to me, that seems a little bit inconsistent with the idea of women being children, right? So if we're going to start with the premise of women being children and it's our then responsibility to lead, then I don't think we need to even advise them on how to talk. I think we have to advise men on how to deal with them. So it goes back to my previous.
I think your
Some went out.
Your Bluetooth died. All right.
Okay, so let me respond.
Hold on.
Hold on. I just want to say one little thing, because he said the women's children thing. I never said what women need to do. Just keep that in mind, Clout Jones. I don't believe in should or need to. I don't talk like that. There is a standard and requirement so it's either you're going to do something or you're going to get out. So it's no, you need to do this.
No, but that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the problem with that is telling them that they got to do something or get out puts the action and the responsibility in their hands. And what I'm saying is that to me is what's inconsistent with the idea of women being children, because the responsibility to act is not going to be in their hands. The responsibility to act is going to be in our hands. So the way I look at it is like this. We need to tell men more so not to accept any disrespect. So exactly because that conversation that you're talking about, again, women are emotional. The way that they have that conversation is through the disrespect. It's the same way the way a child tells you that they have a problem is they throw a tantrum, right? So it's up to us to be able to interpret that disrespect and respond to it accordingly. By not accepting the disrespect, she's gonna be like, "Oh shit, he is. I was wrong. His leadership quality is clearly still there because he just checked the shit out of me." And I feel like that's really what it is. She's reacting to get a response because she doubts your ability to lead. And the way she's testing your ability to lead is by being disrespectful and giving you the opportunity to check her. If you don't check her, you failed the test. And so now the way she looks at it at this point, it's like, oh, this nigga's a bitch. I can talk to him how I want to. But the moment she says something crazy to you, but what I'm saying is it's not her talking to you crazy that's the problem. The problem is how you react to her talking to you crazy. So if she says something crazy and you get all emotional and start yelling, she's like, oh, I got this nigga. If she says something crazy and you just let it slide, oh, I got this nigga. But if she says something crazy, hold on, let me finish.
Oh, go ahead,
if she says something crazy and you calmly look in her eye and be like, look, I could tell you're emotional, but what we're not going to do right now is we're not going to talk in a disrespectful way. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to calm down and we can revisit this conversation later. And then you walk away. If you handle the situation like that, guarantee you that disrespect is not going to continue because you've now shown her how to behave by staying calm and also by letting her know that I'm not going to continue to engage with you if you disrespect me. You know, and you can do this from the first date. From the first date, if a girl's supposed to meet up with you and she's late and she's running late, you don't accept the date. You call her back. Look, I've been waiting here for 30 minutes. We just gonna have to do this another time. Mm-hmm. Simple. So she knows now at this point, okay, like if I'm dealing with this dude moving forward, he's not gonna tolerate me being late. Now she knows you're training her. She knows exactly what to do. If she likes you that much, she ain't gonna be late again. And if she doesn't care She won't call you again, and that'll be fine because you won't be looking for her call because you've already let her know you're not accepting that behavior. So yeah, I definitely think it's in the men's hand to
I just look at it
know
like
how to handle.
Shonda may disagree. Shonda, you disagree?
It kind of almost, you say training, but it's kind of like
it's like a job, Shonda. It's like a job.
Hold on, let go. I can't. I'm trying to hear.
Okay, go ahead.
We kind of test the man by
resting your masculinity.
We want a man that leads. To be honest, most women, a woman speaking for women, we want a man to lead. So I mean, right off, we're not by nature going to just be up and disrespectful or try to test you just to see how you react. Want him to see if he's man enough. I mean, no. So they kind of sound more like mind games.
I just look at
but
it like a job.
But Shonda, I have to say, I feel like a lot of women want to tell men how to lead, and if they disagree with them in their way of leading, then a lot of women feel that that's their way and their excuse to be disrespectful and to not be in line with who they're supposed to be in their relationship. As a woman, you can't really sit back and tell a man how he needs to lead as a man. I think that is absolutely it's not, but it also goes with the vetting process, like making sure you pick someone. Like you can't get in a situation where you pick a man, you've taken all of this time to say, this is a person that I respect, I love, I want to date, I want to get to know, I want to mesh my life with them. And then, they're respectable. How do they go from respectable to laying on the couch? That doesn't make any sense, because that type of person is not going to get to that point. And if they do get to that point, it must be some traumatic situation happening in their life. Then that means it's your role and your duty in that moment to bring them up, to be that helpmate that Precious was explaining. Because obviously they've stepped out of their character. They've stepped out of their masculine frame, the man that you chose and that you've known and learned and grown to love. So that is outside of the realm. So that means you're there to be the helpmate to lift them up. And in that situation, you're going to have to stay there, not leave. You're going to have to stay there and endure, right? Endure and learn and grow. You grow in your position and how you need to learn to support that other person. This is what I need people to understand. Marriage and relationships are not some rainbow road of sunshine and perfect situations every single day. You have to be able to endure some things. I don't care if you get the most perfect person, you have the most perfect, attractive, y'all have this great sex life, y'all both making all of this money, y'all living in this big house, everybody got six packs and everything is perfect. It's still going to be some hard days. It's still going to be some difficult times. Y'all are not raised by the same parents. You don't come from the same household. You're going to disagree. You're going to have disagreements. You might have arguments. But guess what? You chose that person. You signed on for it. So if it's something that can be worked through, you have to grow up and work through it, just like we do with everything else in our life. I'm tired of women throwing in the towel over, excuse my French, bullshit.
I will also
it's just
say
like a job, really, y'all.
Cloud Jones is not wrong, because I've seen many times, again, we see it with attention. A man who don't give a woman attention, he get all of her attention. And it's like, when he has shown restraint, that her little nitpicking behaviors don't bother him. And then once he shows like, okay, well, she constantly doing this, she obviously wants me to address it, and he address it in a way where it doesn't look like she's taking control. Women know who to try. We've been saying this for years. Women know who to try. We know who the trick and who the simp is, and we know who the alpha and who the dominant man is. We know who the punk is, and we know who the big dog is. And you behave how you know who that man is. It's some men you can walk up to him and they ain't never had to correct a woman on her mouth, because she already know how to come with him. And then some men, they had to go ahead and show a woman, I ain't one of them. They had to go ahead and show her, because his disposition came off a little bit misleading. So somebody mentioned earlier, women have a spirit of rebellion. We absolutely do. We absolutely do. And if you let me, I'm going to show you how rebellious I can be, right? We all say it. And I don't think it's the best thing. I do think that it's a bad behavior women need to unlearn. However, we utilize it and try to implement it off of anybody that we can get off over. And it starts with pretty privilege and it starts with your parents. It starts very young. If I can get away with it from daddy, then mama gonna go for it because she gonna listen to him. We already know. And if I can get away with it in school because I'm pretty, then I'm gonna be able to get away with it later on down the line, and it comes a point where sometimes you have to realize this bad habit is not conducive to how you maneuver with a man, period. This is a very bad habit. And we teach it to our little girls. I can't wait to have a daughter so she can act like me so I can teach her how to ask daddy for money. We've seen those stories and those little, little soliloquies and videos and things like that. We see it all the time, right? And what we have to learn is sometimes him exerting his dominance is not necessarily healthy all the time for the relationship because you feel like you want to try him or you want him to prove that he is the man that you said that he should be. Sometimes it's just very much so unnecessary. And some of these men, you get a man like Marcus, they'll leave your ass alone.
It's just like a job, y'all. You go to work, some jobs fall off. You ever had a job and you start feeling like it's a dead end job? You leave, right? You make changes and you say, I'm finding another job. And I'm not saying for all women to just leave or whatever, but if things are going down and it's not looking better, you don't argue with a man. You don't fuss at the man. You don't start trying to be his mama. You try to find out what actually is a problem. And if it's a relationship, not a marriage, you just get out because you don't want to turn around and have a baby with this man. See, it's one thing about a marriage, but if you are just in a relationship with a man, you can turn around and get pregnant by this man and he's sitting on the couch playing video games. So it makes sense to leave a relationship versus a marriage. So I just wanted to specifically say that. But when you got a job, you know what to respect, what not to respect. You're going to come back late from break if you can get away with it. But at some point, that job is not going to argue with you and you're not going to argue with them. And if you don't argue with your job when they sit you down and give you your verbal warning or that write-up, you got to give your man the same respect. You don't argue when you get that write-up. You just sign it and you get up and go back to your desk. So when a man tells you like, yo, this is what we doing and this is what we not doing, why are you going to argue with him?
So just when you talk about like jobs and careers in real life, I think it's really important. Like Marcus said, like the power in the tongue is really, life and death is there. It's so important for women to really find and seek other women that are in a place like Trev said, when you're trying to seek advice and you're looking for wisdom. It's important to seek out those women with the knowledge that they possess, that you want to grow into, or the role that you want to become. Outside of my mother, I really am surrounded, and my mother-in-law, by some amazing women that I work with, that I've learned, and in my sorority, that I've learned how to be silent, how to examine my environment, how not to react just because I may feel emotionally led to in the moment. Learning when it is a good time to speak and to address something very deeply, or when it is a good time to just address something on the surface and let it go and move on. In my career, I've literally women that have 30, 40 years on me, sitting back in silence and admiration and just watching how they navigate issues at work and issues within their personal life, and how they're always professional and upstanding and pillars for women where I am in my stage of life. I'm like, That is how I want to be respected. That is how I want to move in my community. That is how I want to be respected by younger women that are coming up under me and respected by the peers that I have alongside me. If you don't have those types of figures in your life where you can sit back and really look at and see, women always have goals when it comes to education and money, but where is the goals when it comes to community and family? Where are those goals, right? We need the whole entire picture, because having that whole entire picture will turn you and help you to grow into the woman that God has intended for you to be, and the woman that you are meant to be, and also the woman that you need to be to have the success and get the things that you say you want. Sometimes and realizing that, you're going to realize that shedding those layers of some of the things that you need to shed, it may be painful at times, y'all. It may not feel good, y'all. If your man, your boyfriend is telling you something, and you sit back and you be like, my brother told me that when I was like 15, and here you are 25, and you hearing the same thing. It may be true, y'all. It really may be true. So that is a chance for you to sit back and look in the mirror and say, this is a problem that I may have, right? This is also a problem that I may have that's hindering me from getting the outcomes in life that I want. You're not going to get that management position. You're not going to move up. Those degrees will not be put to work because you don't exhibit regulation, self-regulation. You're not able to, if you're not able to lead yourself, you can't lead anyone else. You're not going to be able to lead your husband, your children. You're not going to be able to also be a good follower of, and know when you do see good leadership, you're not even going to know what good leadership is because you don't have the qualities either. Right? So I just urge people, men, I watch on King Talk all the time. Y'all talk about brotherhood. Y'all talk about having men around you, but women, we need the exact same thing. You need to find those pillars in your life and in your community, and you need to really get close and just be quiet and follow and study and learn and grow. And if somebody gives you advice and you know it's coming from a loving place, you have to take the emotion out of it and listen and try to take heed to what they're saying.
And just to add to what Casey's saying, it takes being humble. It really takes being humble. It really takes saying, you know what, I have these issues, I want to fix them, and I'm ready to surrender to someone else's leadership, guidance, wisdom. So yeah, she got that.
If you guys are feeling passionate and want to shed a tear, feel free to do so. This is a safe space. We're going to go ahead and get to these super chats, and then we're going to get into the main topic. Casey, that's how you say it, $20. All women have to be masculine in some situations. The key is knowing if that masculinity is inherent to her character or if it wane over time and she rests in her femininity. Nelson, 499 says, tell me more. It's not a technique. Stop posing as a therapist, Mr. Let Go. There's no such thing as a child attachment coach. Easy for me, baby Zaddy, $5 says, let's clarify what talk to him like a king means. To me, it means to respectfully advise, acknowledging him as a leader. Am I off? AP Accountability Partner, $5 says, I love Paris. I'm going to carry myself respectfully, but FIG, I'll beat your ass.
Fantasy Island girl.
Fantasy Island girl. She's saying, talking all this shit now, but if Fantasy Island girl was here, she'd be like, bitch, I beat your ass. That's what she's saying.
I thought this was funny. Paris KS said, put your D up. AP Accountability Partner, $2 says, Cloud Jones for the win, 100% agree. Jackson 199 says, who yells? Real G's moving silence like lasagna. AP Accountability Partner says, Casey, are you happily married? I'm just saying, if my wife and I, then Paris, and I don't work out. Look at the emoji.
Very, very happy.
BZ Phony Baby Zag, $2 says, Casey, you got a sister? All right, so
I got one question.
3 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
All brothers, Casey. All brothers. I got one question. Where does this misconception that women are just going to work and we're just taking whatever somebody tells us to do? Where the hell did it come from? Who made that up?
You speaking to me or you speaking to Lego?
What does that mean? We don't understand what that means.
I see that often. Like I see that often, almost every week in the chat. I see like men bring that up. I think Trev mentioned it earlier. Where is this idea coming from that women are just going to work and we're just doing whatever somebody tells us and we have no pushback on it and we're not saying it? Where the hell is that coming from?
What are y'all doing? I don't
hold
know.
on. That's a question for the
Marcus
chat.
was-
Chat, I want you guys to answer that question.
In general,
Oh, okay.
but still,
I know.
That's,
we got to.
too.
Yeah.
Where
I
y'all
want the
get
chat.
that from?
I want the chat to answer because we got to get to the main topic. So I'm gonna leave
Well,
that
if you
one.
don't shut the hell up at a job, you're gonna get fired. Just like if you don't shut the hell up at home, you're gonna get put out.
Women
So
change jobs
it's
all the
just
time.
logic.
So my question to you guys is, why do y'all have this idea? Because it is a misconception that women are going to work and just we're just doing what we're told, like somebody talking to us crazy and we're taking it. Where did that come
Working with women. Working with women.
Nobody knows. I don't know. All I'm saying is sit down, be quiet, or you're gonna get put out, or you're gonna get fired, and you're gonna be homeless and have to go live with your sister. Period. Sit down, shut up. Period. That's it. Regardless, no matter the environment, sit down and be quiet. Or you're gonna get put out or fired and you'll be looking stupid. Then your little pookie babies
So
are gonna have to
you just saying that there's consequences to your
move out of
actions.
school.
You know, women not acting like that for real. That makes sense.
I think they're really coming from the perspective that women can button it up when it comes to, their professional life. But when it comes to their personal life, they just letting it all hang out. They don't have no decorum. They don't have no tact. They don't have any, the respect level is not at the forefront like it would be with your employer, even though they may get on your nerves. Maybe you don't agree with what they're doing at the job and you do want to maybe move to another position. You're doing that in a manner where you're not disrespecting your bosses, you're not disrespecting the company, you're just moving the way that you need to move. Whereas in relationships, women will they don't care what they say. They'll just move however and think that there are no repercussions for their actions. I think that's where the men
Precious,
come
are
from
you
when they
going
say
to work?
that.
Let anybody say whatever to you. Are you going to work just taking any form of disrespect and microaggression? Do you operate like that when you're at work?
I don't.
I didn't think so.
Mm-mm.
I think it's just saying that women are very calculated when it comes to their careers, right? Like they can put aside not liking somebody at work. It doesn't have to be a boss. I think in general, women can put aside and know the end goal. Like I'm using this A to get to B, and then I'm gonna do C. So regardless if they have some issues or some friction, they're able to keep their mind and their eyes on the prize, if you want, to really know like this is what I'm getting for myself. And even though I want to go off on that person, I'm not gonna go off on them because I know that it may hinder what I'm trying to do over here. So I think we're good at remembering that when it comes to our professional life, but I think when it comes to our personal life, sometimes as a whole, we don't care. I don't care, Lapeef. When it comes to our personal life,
I don't care.
I want the misconception to stop, because we see all the time that women will find a man in order to accommodate for their lack thereof with a job. We see all the time that women will grow a business, become social media influencers, go back to hustling, doing hair, doing nails, figure out something in order to make their ends meet, and it even comes with sacrifice. The idea that women are just going to work being told what to do, shitting up and taking it, it really needs to stop. It's not happening. We're not that subservient because we don't code switch that well. And I think that that's what you guys are thinking. Like when we're going to work, we're code switching. And then when we come home, we're just letting it all hang out. Everybody getting snapped on. Everybody getting fingers pointed at. And their neck is rolling. Their eyes is rolling. And we're yelling. It's not.
But
happening.
Paris, it
It's
depends
not
on
happening.
the demographic. It depends on the demographic that we're
Demographic
talking
is
about.
fine, but in
You know?
general, in totality, I'm saying, right, the disposition that you keep as a woman, we are so fickle that we cannot keep that up 3-4 years at a job. We are so fickle that people will figure out eventually who we really are. Even when we're going through depression, you cannot hide the way that you first came to work during orientation to what you look like when you getting up throwing a ponytail on and you just walking in the office and you ain't for the shit. I feel like the misconception is that women behave in a higher morale at work than we do at home. No, everybody is getting an honest version of who we are. We're not changing. So if we don't like a coworker, that coworker know we don't fuck with her. It don't change.
Ain't nobody got time for that. I disagree. I disagree looking at it differently.
Your coworker. That white man tell you shut up, you're gonna shut up. Your coworker tell you shut up. You're gonna put some. You're gonna eat their food in the lunchroom. Some passive aggressive. But when that white man tell you shut up, you're gonna shut up.
It ain't happening
that's a
like
fact.
that. I'm telling
Y'all shutting up when that white man
Okay.
All right, it's time to get to the main topic, y'all. It's time to get to the main topic. Guys, just tune in. Welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. This is a great show thus far. A lot of gems being dropped right now. Y'all ready? Trev, you ready? I'm coming to you first, brother. I know you've been sitting over there quiet. What you got on? What is that? Sweater? What the hell is that?
Yeah,
is
it's
it
a sweater.
cold in your house, Trev? You look
Looks
like
Express. What you got on over there?
like
Well, I'm in the Northeast, so we're a little
so
different.
it's cold inside of your house too.
We got like 40s in the high 40s.
In your house?
No,
It's
not in my house. Well, where I am, yeah. Where I keep it chill, depending on how I want to dress that day. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Trev doing a Super Bowl this year, y'all. Doing a Super Bowl for the next year. Yeah.
It's still hotter than your hoodie, though, Leco. I'll say that.
That thing look hot. You look bundled up.
All right, let's go ahead and get the crack. Get that chinchilla on. Faithfulness is a choice. Faithfulness is a choice. So we're going to play this clip.
We try to make it seem like being faithful is just like this accolade that only certain men hit. You know what I'm saying? And like they just are blessed with faithfulness and loyalty, and they just had these things ingrained in them. It's a choice. It's a choice. It really is a choice. And you have to choose it actively. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I was like, yo, we were talking about just like infidelity, cheating. And I was like, bro, whenever you are at odds with your partner, things will be presented to you.
Like what?
Just options. And that's when you got to really be 10 toes down about who you're with and understand. So that's what I'm saying to you is for me is like understanding who I'm with and where I want to go. And knowing that God placed her in my life to get us to where we need to get to. And that me being unfaithful, dabbling in all these other different things is not going to help push me further into my purpose. So it's understanding who I'm with, but also understanding my purpose and what it is I've been put on earth to do. And connecting those two things makes me understand like, yo, it don't make sense for me to be out here choosing to be unfaithful. Because like we said, it's a choice. You either choose to be faithful or you don't.
I love that.
Play one more time.
I think a lot of times we try to make it seem like being faithful is just like this accolade that only certain men hit. You know what I'm saying? And like they just are blessed with faithfulness and loyalty, and they just had these things ingrained in them. It's a choice. It's a choice. It really is a choice. And you have to choose it actively. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I was like, yo, we were talking about just like infidelity, cheating. And I was like, bro, whenever you are at odds with your partner, things will be presented to you.
Like what?
Just options. And that's when you got to really be 10 toes down about who you're with and understand. So that's what I'm saying to you is for me is like understanding who I'm with and where I want to go. And knowing that God placed her in my life to get us to where we need to get to. And that me being unfaithful, dabbling in all these other different things is not going to help push me further into my purpose. So it's understanding who I'm with, but also understanding my purpose and what it is I've been put on earth to do. And connecting those two things makes me understand like, yo, it don't make sense for me to be out here choosing to be unfaithful. Because like we said, it's a choice. You either choose to be faithful or you don't.
I love that. I love that, bro. And I think that's nothing but value. And you know, we was kind of.
All right. Faithfulness is a choice. I'm going to start with you, Trev, and then we'll go to Nika.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. We have a choice in being faithful. Like he was saying, when things are going bad, that's when all the temptations, you start to be more tempted. It's really you. It's not like it's just circumstances that fall on your lap. It's just that right now you feeling like you're lacking something. Something's missing. So then you start to seek it, even if it's subconsciously. You're seeking these things that you're not getting where you are at home. And sometimes you may not know how to articulate that to your significant other, and you're at the crossroads now. What should I do? Should I go ahead and just get this? Because this person is offering what it is that I'm lacking where I am. It could be, McLovin, of course. That's one of the easiest ways for you to go ahead and switch up on somebody, because that's something that we really want as much as possible, particularly men. That's what we want to do. So if you're missing that at home, then you're going to see the opportunity of this female. So like the first week, let's just say you're deprived for a week. You start noticing other chicks like, oh, what's up with this one? What's up with that one? She got a nice one or whatever. But by the time you get several weeks in, you start looking at ankles, elbow, anything will turn you on at that point. Anything will turn you on at that point. So, the worse your problem is at home, the worse off, the more it is for you to be attracted to something else. It might just be the way a person talks to you. Maybe this woman just doesn't respect you, right? So then now you're like, man, you know what? And then you get to somebody else who really knows how to talk to men, right? Or just maybe you in particular, and she's filling that void, making you feel a lot more like a man than this woman could have before, your significant other. She's just respecting what it is that you say. She's listening to you. She's not talking down to you. And a lot of people don't understand. That's an easy way to escape, because some people are just easier to talk to, right? They'll listen to you, or some people. And then you got women who are just Debbie Downers, right? So everything is always a problem. Everything is always on 10. Everything is a panic. Everything is just, man, like it's what's going on now? Like, you don't want to deal with that all the time. So there's so much temptation out there, but at the end of the day, you still have to choose, right? It's up to you to be able to communicate what's wrong with your relationship, right? And if you can't, and your communication is broken, you seek sources, maybe therapy or whatever else that you might have to do. But if you can't, it's much better for you to just terminate the relationship, right? Because it's going to be more harmful. Eventually, it's going to come out. You're going to get caught, and then it's going to be a mess, and it's not worth it. So you just have to be strong. You have to have the fortitude to be able to, once you make a commitment, stand by your commitment. If you out here, you out here. You don't owe anybody anything. But once you decide to make those commitments, you involve other people, and now your commitment is determining what someone else does and how they live their life, then you should respect it.
All right. Hey, Cloud, let me know if we need to get HR in the chat. Go ahead, Nika.
All right. So I think faithfulness is absolutely a choice. And it's not just a choice, it's a series of choices. So it's choices that you make every day, every moment. And also, I think it goes as deep as even just like you being faithful in your mind. So checking, who your, fantasies and so forth. And it's nobody's business who anybody fantasizes about. However, it's important that, I want my fiance's in my fantasy. I want to be in his fantasy. And again, it's none of my business, but now unfaithfulness can start with, say, another woman in his fantasy, or perhaps a woman that doesn't even look like me, or maybe a white woman, or, so I think a lot of this stuff starts mentally in terms of, how people are able to sort of move away from being faithful. But I definitely think, again, going back to it's a series of choices, mental choices, emotional choices. A lot of people emotionally cheat. They may not physically cheat, but they emotionally cheat and they don't think they're cheating. But again, it's very nuanced. It could be, somebody, can give you a compliment and you can say thank you, or you could sort of engage with the compliment and try to, heighten that compliment and get more compliments. And so again, I think being faithful is something that you're constantly doing checks and balances on your behavior, the way you engage with other people, again, your own fantasies. All of that to me is about solidifying faithfulness.
All right, go ahead, Marcus.
So the way he's describing it simplifies it a lot for men, right? And I don't think it's that. So if it was worded like faithfulness is a man's nature, I would disagree, right? Because I don't think that men naturally was the way our body set up, our the way our sex drive is set up, the way our eyes and our are just core function as men across the board. It does not seem like that was ingrained as how we were supposed to move. Now you can make the choice to fight that, right? And that is a choice, the same way like living or dying and suicide is a choice. I mean, but I don't know. That's I don't know. I would need to understand like more of that conversation so I could see where it was going. Everything in life is a choice, right? So, but if he was just saying faithfulness in terms of having an understanding with your partner and having a side and always choosing them, and that, then I understand exactly what he's saying. I just need to see the context surrounding that conversation. I really do.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Precious.
Go ahead, Precious.
I believe faithfulness is more of a commitment, where you actually eliminate the choice, any other choices. When you put NESS at the end of a word, it means the state, the quality of the like the being that. So when he said you have to actively seek after it, that's something that you are actively being every day. You're not saying, do I want to cheat on him today or not? You're waking up saying, I'm not going to cheat on him today. I'm not going to have a wandering eye. I'm not going to do those things. You're putting your stake in the sand and saying, this is what I am going to do, this is who I'm going to embody, and this is how I'm going to carry it out. So I think Trev said, he used the word commitment. It is definitely a commitment, and you have to have patience. You have to have that long suffering trait to you, because it's going to be something that if you are going to embody that, and if you're going to be that with someone, then you're going to do that until you guys die. And if we're, talking about marriage here, you're going to do that until you guys die. It's a commitment. It's the covenant that you have with one another. So, a choice, I don't know, because when you say, I mean, of course, everyone has a choice, but you also you can't waver. You can't be lukewarm. You have to stand on one side or the other. So, in my eyes, faithfulness is more so a commitment to the person that you're with, and to yourself. You're saying to yourself, this is who I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to carry out in my relationship, and then do that.
All right, we're gonna go to Cloud then, Shonda. Go ahead, Cloud.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simply answered. I mean, I would say yes. I mean, I agree with what Precious was saying, but also I would say, yeah, faithfulness. I mean, it's a choice. Like, and I agree with Marcus. Like, it's a choice. Like how everything's a choice. I mean, you have to, even though you're removing the choice, like Precious said. I mean, that's still a choice to do that. So at the end of the day, it's like I don't think it's really that deep of like a question, or like it's really that deep of a way to answer it, because it's like it's obviously a choice. Like that's the only way you can be committed, is if you choose to be committed. And at any point, even once you commit, you can choose not to be committed. You can just wake up and say, oh, I changed my mind, and make a different choice. So I just think that it's a choice, and yeah, I mean that's just what it is.
Okay. Go ahead, Shonda.
Okay, I do agree that faithfulness is well, that everything in life is a choice. I do agree on that, as well as it is a commitment. I agree with Precious. But I do want to add that I believe it's more of it can play of that person's character as well. People can always choose to work on themselves, but a lot of times it's more so, I believe, that character of that person. Uh, yeah, and in some cases, having feeling lack of not having or not feeling appreciated at home, or not just wanted to feel the lack of being able to have that companion with someone else, to just, to, I guess, choice again, to choose to bring someone in to fulfill that. But yeah, I think all of that plays a role, I believe, when it comes to a person's character. Um, yep, commitment. I believe all of it falls in.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Paradise.
I think we're thinking about this surface level, because the obvious answer is yes. But realistically speaking, right, there is a lot of discipline that goes into remaining faithful for men and women. And you will hear so many women say, "Oh, well, when you really love somebody, it's not hard to cheat." It takes restraint. And your level of restraint may not look like somebody else's level of restraint. Sometimes it may be easy for you. Sometimes you can just close it off. You got the emotional attachment. You feel like you satisfied. You got all that you need. But for some people, it really does take a conscious amount of self work, because what is easy for them is juggling multiple people. When one person tells them no, they know that they got another answer who's going to tell them yes. They know that they can always get whatever temporary gratification that they're seeking in that moment. But when they're actually in a relationship, that looks different. And that means that choosing to make the conscious decision to say, in this moment, wherever I feel like I'm finna, submit to my lustful desires, I'm gonna choose you. In this moment when I'm vulnerable, I'm gonna choose you. In this moment where I feel like we are not on the same page, I'm still gonna choose you. So I think, like, of course, the natural answer is yes, faithfulness is a choice. But we don't actually talk about how one person's heart don't look like the next person. It may be easy for me to only deal with one person. But for you, you probably done had 4 or 5 people that is always around, always willing to get what you want. Like, we see people all the time. They haven't been in relationships 5 years, 7 years. At some point in time, like, you've been by yourself so long, it's easy for you to say, I can have what I want. I don't have to tolerate this. I can do whatever I want. And when we start including those caveats, the conversation get a lot different, because people who've been by themselves a long period of time and have people at their leisure, they can do whatever that they want. And they're easy, and it's easy to them. They're very much so accustomed to it. So I think a lot of times when we talk about faithfulness, that looks like a lot of different things when it comes to a person's willpower.
All right. Go ahead, Lego.
When it comes to cheating and just being faithful, it depends on what you believe in. So, in my opinion, it's not just about a fine girl walking past you. We're men. We want to sleep with every attractive girl that walks past us. And for some of us, we can sleep with some of the fine girls that walk past us. But with me in particular, what I believe in is, if I want to be single, I'll just stay single and just smash all these different women. If I want to be in a relationship, I will not smash these other chicks, because I made a decision my own decision to be in a relationship. So it's not a decision to be faithful, it's a decision to be in a relationship versus being single. So with all that being said, if I'm in a relationship and I'm seeing all these attractive women, it's not making me want to cheat, because if I wanted all these women, I would have just stayed single. So there's a reason why I'm in a relationship. It's because I'm happy where I'm at. And at the same time, if I felt the need to, want to be with different women, I would tell the other woman or the woman that I'm dating, let's be in a polygamous relationship, or let's have an open relationship, or let's make some type of changes or whatever, and we'll do that. And I think a typical man has the ability to do that, because a lot of times when we single, the person that we're having sex with probably is having sex with somebody else anyway, right? So all together,
what?
We make a decision to be with the other person, not to be faithful. Being faithful comes with being with the other person, because if you make a choice, that's it. So to me, I don't really care about trying to cheat and all this other stuff, because it doesn't make any sense. Would it ever happen? I don't know. I'm sure, whatever, at some in a 10-year, 20-year period, yes. Most likely, I'm going to cheat within a 20-year cycle. Yes. We married. Some point, I want to smash something else at some point in a 20-year cycle. But I'm not just going to be running around doing all this stuff because I didn't make the decision to. My whole thing is, at my age, it just doesn't make sense to cheat on your girl if you are in a relationship with her. Just stay single.
What age is that? I'm just
kidding. Look at him, Precious throwing shots. I'm saying, if we together for 20 years, at some point, I don't step out at some point. I'm sorry. But it's not going to be something that's crazy where I'm always doing it, because now I'm doing something to you. Something crazy happens. I'm just saying, in a 20-year period, yes. But it's not something that you plan on doing. Just stay single if that's the case. I don't care. I'll be chilling. I'll be turning the ass down, and I'm single. These women dangerous out here.
Oh, really?
These women are dangerous. They'll ruin your whole damn life. You ain't careful.
Go ahead, Case. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Okay. Y'all can hear me, right? Okay. I basically, Paris said it, when you go into like the different layers of what it takes to be faithful, right? It's that discipline, that commitment that everyone else was talking about. You've made the decision that this is what you're going to do. You made the decision to be with that person, and it has to be a level of commitment and discipline that is innately like in you, right? You have to be a person that stands on your word. And this is the decision that I've made. When everyone was talking, one of the things that I thought about that came to mind was, if there's a woman, and I've heard this before, like not on panels, but like people talk about being poor, right? There is some people that they're like, okay, I'm poor, so I have the right to steal to feed my family. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get the food to put in my children's mouth or my household's mouth, right? And then there's other people who say, I would never steal. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to feed my family, but there's an integrity line that I'm not going to cross. I'm not going to do certain things. I'm not going to sell my body. I don't care what I got to do, but there is a line that I'm not going to cross. And I feel like that's what it is when it comes to relationships, right? You're going to have those moments where your emotions are challenged, where you might feel empty. Your tank might feel empty, but there has to be a line that you've decided, and that your integrity that will hold up inside of that relationship, that this is a line that I'm not going to cross, regardless of my emotions and regardless of the circumstances that I'm currently in. So I kind of feel like that's what it is. And I also know that I've always been taught you can only control yourself. You only have self-regulation and only control of yourself. I would never sit in any situation and say, my husband would never, and in our relationship, it would never. Like, that's not realistic. That's not possible. Like Mr. Lego said, it's a long life to live, right? But I also have heard Paradise say many times, when it comes to cheating and infidelity, that's not a deal breaker. And I will say, there's a lot of things in my marriage. I know who my husband is. There's a lot of things that are they're not deal breakers when it comes to the covenant that I have with my husband and the life that we've built, our children, my household, and the things that I hold important to my life. So you have to figure out, it's a lot of things when it comes to relationships, y'all. It's not no black and white answers on a lot. There's a lot of gray. There's a lot of things that don't feel good that you have to talk about. But you also have to know you only are responsible for yourself. You don't control the other person. You can't say what they'll never do or not possible in their character to do. You know what you can do, and you can also find yourself in some tricky situations. But that's when you go back to the core values and the core person, and you look at your integrity and what is important to you, right? Is your honesty important to you? Are you a person who really tells the truth because you know you like to sleep good at night? Or are you a person that, they'll never know? It'll come out, because there's ways things come out in the most weirdest, freakiest of ways. So you have to ask yourself in those situations, where's your integrity? Where are your values? And you only control yourself. I'll land it there.
Yeah, mic drop right there. Everybody went, right? Okay. Well, it's about that time, man. It's at the top of the hour. I know folks got to get some sleep. Get they rest. Let me go ahead and comb through these super chats and we go ahead and close out. AP Accountability Partner $2 says, why Mark is blocking.
We red light, green light. I put in work with her husband. It's good.
AP Accountability Partner $5 says, Mark is blocking for Casey like a lineman. Precious, you're back to third. Very good point, ma'am. You've always been dope. No gaslight, I promise. Enter the Black Dragon $5 says, women know how to submit to management and authority at work, getting paid, and they think they don't have to submit to their men at home. And the Black Dragon $2 again says, you will keep a bad job and leave a man. Stop it. AP Accountability Partner $5 says, Mr. Lego, you are wrong. Black women, especially in corporate, favorite line to the white man is, what I ain't gonna do, or that's not in the description. Ghetto Gourmet JCS $10 says, for Miss Paradise, you are correct. I'm just saying. Those are all the super chats for the night. I want to thank everybody that has contributed to the platform. Again, shout out to the sponsor, T.H. Hanley, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men, 30% off along with a free gift. Let's click that link. Hopefully you guys enjoyed yourself. Welcome. Well, thanks, Shonda. NECA, what's up?
We usually fuss it around 1 o'clock. What's going on? We ain't fussing.
My motherfucker's tired.
I was hoping for it.
Why it's 1 o'clock and we ain't fussing?
Nah, man, this is grown folk talk tonight, so
it was so nice having you, Shonda and Nanika, because I hope I see
shout out to y'all.
Yes.
And shout out to Casey always.
Yeah. Shonda, I got your plan for Mr. Lego, because I know he be trying to feed words in people's mouth, but I ain't gonna let him do that to us, because I'm one of them masculine black women tonight.
But yeah, I did.
That was cute.
What'd you say, Shonda?
I did enjoy the conversations, everybody's perspectives. Yeah.
Especially mine, right?
Y'all gonna come back? Y'all coming back?
Mr. Lego, we can do a whole show together on what we were talking about.
Send me a DM. Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm almost like going live tomorrow. Let's do it.
All right, that's how that network happens. Y'all make sure y'all support each other, man. Make sure y'all check out the IGs and YouTube pages and all that good stuff to see what they got.
Instagram page right here. Yeah.
Oh, well, mine isn't up, but at Being Shonda, at Being_Shonda.
Being Shonda?
Yep,
what?
BI_SH, Shonda. SHANDA.
Being Shonda?
Mm-hmm. Being_Shonda.
If you just put a name in there, it should pop up.
She is
Type
not
it
that
in the
famous.
type it in the chat,
Oh,
Shonda. Type it in the chat for us so we can see it.
All right, so we all good. I know Cloud I gotta say something too. Go ahead, Cloud.
and send me a DM, Nika.
I got nothing to say.
I got you. I will.
Okay.
All right, so we good. We can close out now. Everybody's ready to go. I only sped it up because y'all was in the back talking about something. I'm right behind her. So
Me and I follow back.
everybody
I didn't
good?
know how you guys roll. This is my first one, so I'm like, wow,
Oh
y'all.
no, we usually go to like 1:30. We around 1:00. We usually be.
If we're fighting, that's
when we start really getting pissed.
It was the topic that we ended with, JR. We ended with
This
more
was
of a
the
chill
first
topic.
1:00 point where we ain't fussing since I've been on.
See, that's the problem right now, man. Y'all think black folks always gotta be fussing.
Oh man.
We
grow accustomed to trauma and everything, so can't blame us.
JR, they tried to tell me before in the chat that I was lying about never fighting with my wife before. Casey is my witness. She could tell.
Y'all don't know 90. Come on, man. Y'all sound
See, never
foolish.
what? Oh,
Y'all,
I mean, it's possible.
I don't get in arguments with any women I date because
I believe it's
gonna have to
certain
sit down
people's
somewhere.
temperaments. Like it's certain people's temperaments, and Marcus and
Yeah.
Nani have like both of them are very mild and chill and like very peaceful people, like very peaceful people. So I don't live with them, but I definitely can see it. Like it's very chill, and I can't see a lot of friction happen at
It's
all.
a choice of the
Now,
woman
Mr. Lego,
What?
I can't say that for you.
What?
You are a firecracker. You're not peaceful at all.
Y'all trying to
I'm not gonna choose no woman that's going to be argumentative and fussing. She gonna have to get out. So, like, I'm just saying, keep your pocketbook on your shoulder because your ass may have to get out.
All right, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and close this one out, man. I enjoyed you guys. Make sure y'all support each other. Hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe when you're trying to way out. All right, thanks, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. BC from the Baby's Daddy $2 says, Casey, how about a cousin?
I got some sorority sisters.
All right, fam, this is the last track. Y'all do me a favor, hit that like button. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I want to say thank you guys on behalf of the Lapeef Network. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the show. Y'all be safe out there.